Talking to you, intrepid podcast listener. You bright, glorious son of a bitch, you god amongst humans. That's gonna be a bummer podcast at the beginning. It's gonna. I mean, I don't know. If we had recorded this earlier, I think if we had recorded this like a week ago, then I would have really gotten into it. So, because now I'm like, I don't even know how far to go in, right?
Yeah,
and Ian is aware of what I'm going to talk about, so that's why I'm talking like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we definitely want to hit a few things just so. I mean, just for my sake, I just want to have them on the record. Like, I want to be able to say that I stand by these comments I'm about to make.
Absolutely. For reasons that we brought up in the past. As I try to avoid the joke. That low hanging fruit we're so guilty of plucking and taking ravenous not bites, inhalations.
We have, I think, only eaten the fruit that we found scattered on the floor. It's slightly soft to the touch, but that's the richest caloric it's gonna get. That's where the good stuff is.
It really is. But we will sort of beat around the bush. And then, Ian, you're Jewish.
Yeah, I am. Okay, so I'll start this conversation.
So hang on. There was an actual order I wanted to go about things.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I wanted to talk about Miura first because I feel like just get my own personal stuff out of the way, and then we can talk about a tragedy that is affecting the entire world, essentially, right? Well, I mean both are, but I mean like one is genocide.
Yeah, one is imperiling other people. This is just kind of a pain that we will all have to kind of move on with and live with.
Mm-hmm. So I'll get into it. I mean, all right. Here's the thing. If you are one of the few people who have followed me on Twitter and also put up with my retweets enough that you stick around, we'll know that one of my favorite authors, not even just mangakas, but I mean like authors of all time, passed away last week, and that is one Kentaro Miura, creator of Berserk, and a bunch of other manga, including I think it's just called The Grappler or something. There's a Grappler one that was really nice. It was like actually a really nice just one-off. Either way, and I think Ian can attest to this. I'm a really big fan of Berserk. Like in general, I'm not just saying that because he's like fast. I have like a wall that Ian has seen of just posters and
his personal art just all over the
fan
room.
art from different artists. I have all the mangas, including the I just got them in the World Guide and the Flame Dragon volumes. I have the single volumes. I'm slowly collecting the deluxe editions, which everyone's buying up now, which is good because more people should read Berserk.
Mm.
Um, there was also a time, like late high school, early college, where the Berserk movies were coming out about the Golden Age arc,
Mm.
and I would just go around and be like, "Hey, you guys want to watch these movies? Come on, it's cool, it's cool." And I forced people to watch the movies, and they're still good. They're still good. They they have some CG stuff, but I think like they get progressively better. They're well paced and well directed. I think the voice acting's killer. I Yeah, I can't even begin. Berserk has such a huge hold on my life that it was a really weird feeling. It felt not, how was I describing it that day to myself? It feels like I didn't know how to react, you know? Cuz it's this tragic thing, but it wasn't even that I cared that the story was not going to be finished, which that's in its own tragedy. But I mean, I think it leaves off in a good place if it has to end here. Um and I'll get to the whole mentor thing, but like if it had to end there, it was a good page.
Mm.
Um but it was the idea that this author I have come to love and really relate to in his work and just adored his art, his writing, was gone, and there was not going to be anything else.
Yeah.
That was the end of that.
Mm.
And it was very hollow. I think when I made that first tweet, I was getting a little choked up because I wanted to write a lot more. And I decided to not do a whole thread
Mm.
because I didn't want to vent my emotions that way. Because there was
Yeah.
no way. And it came down to me just realizing I don't think I could fully encapsulate the entirety of what that piece of work means to me and all his stuff does.
Mm.
So I won't I won't go too into it, but I mean like Berserk is more than just this amazing just these amazing drawings and writings that are, yeah, they're edgy at towards the beginning, but I think it's like not as edgy as a lot of people would give it credit for or would like presume. Um
Mm.
it has deep, like incredibly deep characters that you come to fully understand throughout the reading. It's some of the wildest, greatest like interpretations. Hey Nick, you're in the middle of this, so give me a sec. Greatest interpretations of what um just not just like demons, but like what the worst things could be. But also it's this beautiful story of just overcoming trauma and not just being like a sort of slave to it and to your abuser as well, but overcoming that and finding your own path in a incredibly perilous and hopeless situation.
Mm.
And not even just like in a moment hopeless. I mean like it's a world that just you don't know how it could get better.
Yeah.
How anything could improve. And it's a wild beauty to that it's just these people fighting and finding each other and supporting each other and changing each other throughout their journey. And like I think that's a thing not a lot of people know about Berserk, and but that's what makes people stick around
Right.
is that entire
Oh.
interaction. Um but yeah, man, it's tough. It's gotten me through a lot of tough times. There's stuff I still think about to this day of how to especially nowadays where just the world seems more and more imposing and just unforgiving.
Mm-hmm.
But all I would say to that is, for what it's worth, like I would like to thank Mira for giving me that, or for giving a lot of people that. And to anyone who even has a passing glance, passing interest, you go check it out. Go watch the movies. Go watch the original Berserk, or read the manga. It's all there. Um, and there really truly is a beauty to it that I that is not too obvious at first. But once it sticks, it truly resonates for those who love this piece of work.
Yeah.
Uh that's that's all I can think about. Like,
Okay.
again, I don't think I could fully get into it, but like I would just want that for people, if like to at least check this out, and I hope
Mm.
someone out there experience, or more people can experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a legacy of great art,
Yeah,
and
incredible art.
never a bad time to go out and to appreciate that work.
Oh yeah.
You know?
On a more fun note, like
Yeah.
just reading it and kind of seeing where all your favorite things get their inspiration from. If
Mm.
you're, I mean, we played Souls games on the channel, just seeing where Miyazaki gets all his fucking ideas from. Where the character, what's it called? The type of character that just has giant sword, man with giant sword, and Guts is
Right.
still probably the best version of that.
Mm.
And if you're into horror, boy, oh boy,
There's some nightmarish images
there
in
is
that series.
some nightmare fuel that is amazing.
Wow.
I mean, it's still just a warning to people. There is still like graphic depictions of violence, of rape and horrible atrocities, but it's like everything is done so well, and it's supposed to be like the worst thing one of the worst things you might have seen. It's supposed to be this horrible thing, and then brightness comes in from the characters themselves. Give it a shot. Give it a shot if y'all ever have an interest in that. It's good. I liked it.
You probably would too.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I mean, I introduced Chris to it, so
Yeah,
yeah, take that.
Oh.
I'm just
I
kidding.
know. Come in,
Cool,
Nick, and
man.
take your credit.
Take credit.
Yeah.
Just gonna rack
You
it
knew
in.
about that before everybody else? That means
Let
you're
me.
the coolest one.
I know. Let me log off
You're the
real quick.
big guy.
On this note,
Yeah.
it's crazy because like when I remember watching it, it was one of those things like, well, I watched it before I read it, and then as I was reading it, it was when I told Chris this is something that he would like. So yeah, I showed him the show first, and then like the manga.
And I watched
I
the
do
entire
feel
show.
like, yeah, and the movie, and we watched the movies too.
Yeah.
And what was crazy was that it was always this consistent feeling of you can find so much beauty in how horrible and how like Chris said, there's this feeling of dread, like this feeling like nothing, you don't know how things could get better, but somehow even towards the end of Mira's, like right where this situation happened was when in the story things were getting, there was some sign of something getting better.
Yeah. And
And I
like,
do
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Oh no, I was
Oh,
gonna say like that's they
yeah.
would achieve that, yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think there's something to it that like he made that his entire life, like starting in his teenage years, like 19 or something, was when the
Yeah.
concepts came out. There's a great thread by the guy who did Hajime no Ippo, the artist, because they kind of started out together, and him
Yeah.
seeing the first renditions and being incredibly jealous of how talented he was at the time.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
It's a really heartfelt thread if y'all can go find it.
Mm.
It was like on the day it was announced. But it's and he did it his entire life. Um did his entire life, and you can kind of see him grow. You can see the seeds at the beginning, and as he grows older, them coming really to fruition of what he was trying to say with that entire piece.
Mhm.
Um Again, for people who don't know, it truly is about like overcoming like trauma and abuse, like more than you would think, like just from passing glances. Um, yeah, man, go. It's fucking berserk. It's probably your favorite mangaka's favorite manga,
Well, that
and like,
Vagabond.
yeah, and like
I bring that up because. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
it's one of the most inspirational things in media, in that
Mhm.
you'll see where all these things start, and how it ripples out and just stuff you love. And just
Yeah.
Berserk is still probably one of the most unique pieces out there.
Yeah.
Like being able to still do that is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Um
And it's interesting to see how much the the views on manga and the views on a lot of these medias that weren't considered like high standard. They weren't considered like something to the test of fine art, you know?
Mhm.
yeah.
We're now we're in well, at least at the moment of this recording, we are now in a honestly a entire millennium where now we people are able to celebrate and then see appreciate like someone's essentially hit their life work, and it
Mhm.
showed their life work, and a lot of people resonate with that. And it's one of those things like you don't really process until either the person themselves are gone, or
Mhm.
there's a situation where they simply just stop creating regardless.
Yeah.
And I had nothing but respect for like his process and for how intricate and how like not only like visually like what everybody absorbs, but also like his research and how
Yeah.
much like it just shows he just has a love and appreciation for art of all kind. Because it's
Yeah.
funny, Ian brought up a lot of the well, you guys brought up the monster designs. Majority of the monster designs were actually from depictions of pieces from the surrealist
Yeah,
and
there's
neorealism
entire
movement.
panels taken from just MC Escher.
Yeah, and
One of
actually,
the most famous scenes is an MC Escher painting with his OCs in them. So
yeah,
that's like, oh, and what's that? It's not Audubon Dix. It's that painting of hell where it's the guy with two legs, and there's that house in it. It's that famous medieval
mhm,
painting.
It's got a bunch of like asses in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's in there. Um, but no, it's an artist who just loves what he appreciates that art. Um, to hear that he died of an acute aortic dissection, I believe it was,
Mhm.
uh,
yeah,
where it's a thing in the heart valve, or I believe the capillaries or something like that, where it's just a tear, and if it's not immediately treated, would just kill you outright because you're bleeding out from the inside. Um, and to know that's found in like most cases of people overworked and overstressed,
Mhm.
that that sucks. That like, especially when we're talking about more of a culture that notoriously overworks their employees and underpays them and everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And to know that even one of the people who is renowned as the best, or one of the best, uh, is a victim of it too. Um, it sucks. It really
yeah.
does.
Because like it's that double-edged sword of like we appreciate the result, but it's like at what
Yeah.
cost for the person that creates it.
Yeah.
And it's also like to understand that what we're seeing is a product of that.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things like it's just tough to accept, and like
Yeah.
and but at the same time we can also there's also appreciation in just the drive, and also that he was able to at some points understand like he can't push himself physically that far
Yeah.
and mentally that far, really.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone for a while the running joke was like, oh, maybe he'll finish Berserk, or maybe Guts will get off the boat.
Yeah. Or
Honestly, Berserk,
stop playing WoW or watching Love Life, which he was huge
stop
fans of.
living your life. Yeah,
Yeah,
essentially what people
essentially.
were
Yeah.
saying. Because at the end of the day,
But I've
people
joked
wanted the
about that. I've joked about that.
Yeah,
I'm not even innocent of that.
yeah.
And that's awful. It's a horrible thing.
I mean, I would be. Oh, sorry.
No, please.
I was gonna say, like, I wouldn't be so hard on that, because again, like, it's a joke made, like, because just how much love and care goes into it, and
Yeah.
also it's received from people who read it, like you, Chris, and
Yeah.
everyone who listened at home who also read Berserk and also like read his other works.
Yeah. And
I
like,
think.
oh, good.
Go ahead.
I
I'll
was
say
gonna
like.
say, okay.
Mm,
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
yeah. I mean, I still made those jokes, and I still feel a little guilty about them. But like, at the end of the day, I was that person who was like, when it comes out, and it's gonna be amazing.
Mhm.
Because I mean, he has a 1-to-1 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So like,
And,
it
and
is what it is.
just one thought that I've had that's I think kind of related as well.
Yeah.
Is that, and I think this is applicable to just like anybody else who might be listening, is there is so much of that like the idea of hustling being the most important thing, like
Yeah.
that like, hard work is tantamount to a valuable spending of your time. And like I think that if you're working constantly, that's kind of actually a really terrible way to spend your time
Yeah.
and your life and it first of all indicates that something has gone wrong. Like if
Yeah.
you're working 50 hours, 60 hours, 70 hours every week, like you know, there's an imbalance. But I do think that in a lot of different ways we're kind of told that we should be I don't know, excited about that. I certainly had like a job
Yeah.
before where
That your life should be dedicated to that.
yeah, not only that your life should be dedicated to that, but you should be thrilled about it.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're gonna let you work
Yeah.
another 4 hours today. Aren't you excited? You're gonna get to do that.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, I think that's applicable to just about anybody. Like, your life and your time is so much more valuable than just the hours you clock in doing a job, even if it's a job that you really love, even if it's a job that you like. This man, clearly he had deep passion for it. He loved what he did. It's just a shame that I think that a lot of times we are kind of told, and I'm sure even more so in the time and place that he was growing up, the idea that like busting in at work until you feel lightheaded is like something virtuous or to be proud of, you know? Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because I think a lot of people do feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Miura's work, there was this feeling that when I read it, I knew what it cost him. Like, I read it as much as I loved and how much he loved it. Yeah. I just knew in the back of my mind what it's costing him. And it should not be in the guilt of or in the fault of anyone who buys the book. That's stupid. It's just like Chris says, just the culture. It's just that's just how you're treated. You're expected to live your life, or you're expected to work and produce like a product for people. Because at the end of the day, that's what people are receiving is a product, a physical book, a physical book of 80, like, well, at the beginning it was like 80. Yeah, you can tell, like, physically it was like 80 pages. Then, like, after hiatus, it was like 40, 20.
Yeah, the volumes get smaller.
Yeah, and
I ain't even
like
mad.
you can literally look at your shelf and see it. Like, it's just a wild thing to comprehend, is that as much as we can praise and like respect his work, at the end of the day, he was human.
Yeah.
And that's just something it's just a part of it I feel like should be considered when having discussion. Because Miura was an absolute genius and loved what he did, and was an absolute advocate and celebrator of art of all kind, and it showed. And I just wish that, like, when having these conversations, it just doesn't, end up saying like Miura is this untouchable artist, like Pantheon. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I've talked about it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've talked about it before, which is why I never talk about artists who I try not to pass away, that I really adored. Like, I don't think I talked too much about Neil Peart when that happened, even though Rush was an incredible inspiration for me, like in high school. Annoyingly so for most people, because I would listen to 2112 over and over again, and I still think it's one of the best albums ever made.
oh yeah.
Because I hate the idea of idolization in all forms. I hate the idea of taking a human and putting them on this pedestal. And I don't even mean like, oh, anything, because there is that thought, since like I came from a Catholic upbringing. Oh, no one can touch God or anything. I don't like the idea of people just not considering a human being a human being. And idolization is a horrible version of that, because that means you hold them to these things of they can't make mistakes. They are perfect. They are perfection personified. Anything they do, they poop apple pies, and everything they touch is gold.
I did hear that about you, though. I did hear about that at once.
I've heard rumors, and it's never been checked out.
It's never been confirmed.
Yeah,
but
I wonder
know
if
a guy.
the guy from Hajime no Ippo would. But no, I've At the end of the day, you have to remember these people are human beings. He was a dude who loved WoW, man. He loved his love life, and god damn it, he was gonna spend his free time checking that shit out, because that's what made him happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we should, if you think that you were owed some kind of output, some kind of end, you misunderstand your relationship with artists and their work.
Yeah, because it's like with well, not in the same vein, but on that note, Ian, when Vagabond ended, and you literally had a moment where the author himself would send drafts around his friends or like colleagues of how he wanted Musashi Miyamoto's story to end.
Yeah.
Now we can all just watch the trilogy movies or literally pick up a history book and see what happens, right?
Well, he also put out those that whole exhibit, that digital exhibit.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Because he's done, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
oh, okay.
He put out the exhibit to show that he's done, like he's more than done, and this is what, if he wanted to go through with it, this is what would happen.
Yeah.
So
oh, sorry, I was gonna say it's for the reason of it's like working him to the bone.
Yes.
It's the most like energy he's ever put into anything. Yes. And it's actively deteriorating his health. In his own words.
Yeah.
And
it's just
it's tough.
It's very sad that people that people ever have to feel that way. That they're, people expect this of me. I'm expected this kind of output by this time period, and I just don't think that's not necessarily how art was originally. How art ideally would work. You know,
it is if there is something very inspirational and beautiful about someone so dedicated to their craft. But yeah, you do have to remind yourself again, they're human,
Mhm.
and it becomes a different story once you have to make a living off this, because then it
Yeah.
becomes a product.
I mean, yeah, and that's really the frustrating part of
Yeah.
anytime that money gets into
And
art
yeah,
in general is it is
Mhm.
a product, and you are in a way making, making something into a commodity that is
Yeah.
being traded, and
Mm-hmm.
that's always going to have, kind of the expectations of a marketplace and rather than an art environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
to people who really, I'm not saying don't love the artists, because I want to make that very clear. Don't I'm not saying don't love the artist as much as you do when I say don't idolize. If anything, love them for being human and for being flawed,
Mhm.
or despite their flaws, or
Yeah.
because of their flaws. Um, as long as they're not like fucking hurting people or whatever. Um,
Yes.
but to I think there's a beauty in that they are human and they're still making these crazy, crazy good pieces of art.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah,
yeah,
Whew. Uh,
go read Berserk, everyone.
yeah. It's good. I
Yeah, it's
mean, I don't know
good.
what
Go
to tell
fucking
you,
read it.
but I mean,
uh,
there's like,
I'm trying my
yeah, I mean,
best
there's,
not to get like real emotional, so I'm gonna.
you held it together through that whole thing, man. That
I
was
yeah,
can't
amazing.
believe it. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna go
But I was
fucking.
gonna say, like, there's
You're welcome,
also
Nick. I'll go cry in the
okay.
bathroom later.
Wait, okay. Well, real quick, Chris, before you go,
Yes. No, I'm here.
there was no, there was like talk of of his like colleagues or like his
Oh yeah.
apprentices taking over the
Yeah, thank
story
you
of
for
Berserk.
reminding me. Can I say something on that?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, because I know the obvious take is to go, oh well, and I agree. I agree. Berserk is Miura's work. That is 100% Miura, and I don't know how it could ever be replicated. But I don't want to do the shitty thing of going, uh, that the understudy, or I forget, is he an understudy? He's like a he's his. It was like Kimura was like his mentor, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. Um. So his pupil, I guess. I don't want to do the shitty thing of going, oh, he shouldn't even do it. Because who knows? Who knows what that's about? My thing is like, I don't want like Dark Horse or whatever how it words. I forget what publishes in Japan. I don't know if Dark Horse published Berserk in Japan. Because I know they're an American based company. I don't want that to be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
But if his pupil thinks he can do it, then go for the shot. I'm not gonna say it's disrespectful of Miura because I don't know what their relationship was. I don't know if Miura that's what he would have wanted. I didn't know him as a person, and I have to remember that. Even though I love this artist so much,
Mm-hmm.
that this human being I didn't personally know.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't want to do. I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to do the shitty thing of they should. That artist is like an asshole for not doing that.
Untouchable. He
Yeah,
can never do that yet.
yeah. And the understudy is doing something vehemently wrong. Um, I'm just saying it's weird. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
Who knows? I guess just sit and wait. Just wait it out
yeah.
because it's so tough because yeah, it is 100% Mura. I don't know who else could do it.
Yeah, it's one of those tough things where it's like you don't want to say it out loud because if you say if you say it out loud, then it comes across like the understudy of people who spent their own lives and
Yeah.
sacrificed working under him.
Yeah.
Are
In case something
unable
like this
to-
happened, or
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like that decision or those feelings should be kept with them.
Yeah.
Whatever they decide is their choice. However, I will say that I think it's going to come down to why. Why would you want to
Yeah.
finish it? Would you
Yeah.
finish it just for the sake of having an end?
Yeah.
Was Miura's wishes to have it only his vision?
Yeah.
What would it be for the people working under that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's
No, I
so
know
many
exactly what you mean.
factors to
Well,
that choice.
Does this make you think at all about when Harper Lee passed away?
Oh,
You guys
God,
remember?
Yeah, and that sequel to Kill a Mockingbird came out.
That fucking terrible. And here's the other
I
thing.
didn't even read it, dude. I just saw it and I went, "Whoa!"
So I did read it, and here's what I want to tell you is it's not a sequel, and whoever said it was has misled you.
Okay, I was super misled then because like that was what advertisements were giving off.
No, because so here's the short of it. Like,
okay, gotcha.
Harper Lee had a legal representation since about the 1990s.
Okay.
And her legal representation then became her legal guardian when her daughter moved away.
Okay.
Right.
Then when Harper Lee passed away, like thereabouts, she got conservatorship over her body of work.
Holy shit.
Instead of the family.
Yeah.
And so Ghost at a Watchman, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. That was the 2015. Yeah, it's Ghost at a Watchman.
Is essentially a prototype draft of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay.
It's like To Kill a Mockingbird is set up as a flashback story. Harper, the scout, is actually in her 30s thinking about when she was a little girl.
Okay.
And so in this book...
And then she was like, passive voice, I'm not going to do that. To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah. So in this version, it's present tense, and Atticus is the least racist person in the town she grew up. But she also finds out that her father is still a part of basically a redlining committee that is keeping black people from buying homes in certain parts of town.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just like a weird alt.
It's so weird.
It's like reading somebody's fan fiction where they just scrambled up the names and made the characters different.
Yeah. I never finished. That reminds me too of that Ian Colfer follow-up to the Hitchhiker's Guide ending.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know the full details. The way it came off, and maybe I'm misinterpreting how I got the information, but the way it came off is I know is that it was clear that the original author, who, why am I blanking on his name
Douglas
now?
Adams.
Which one?
Douglas Adams.
Douglas Adams. Originally did not want the 6-book trilogy to end that way. He had come out in interviews and said, I was in a very dark place.
Just been divorced.
And looking back, that was just me taking it out. I kind of wish I had written differently. And he had almost actually written an entire sequel to that, trying to give an ending he would have appreciated. But then sadly passed away before he could compile everything into the book. He had I think he had finished all the draft or the notes and some of the drafts.
He had written some of the chapters and mostly notes. Yeah.
And then Ian Colfer, I don't know why it was him though, came in and
he was probably chosen, I would assume, maybe just because Ian Colfer was probably one of the highest paid writers in Ireland at that time.
So that's what and I was wondering what his relationship to Douglas Adams was at the time. But
he wrote
they knew each other.
Funny kids books before that.
He did. That's what I knew him for, and that's what I was kind of weirded out. I have that book. I don't even know if I finished it.
You know, it was something I was only really aware of by reputation. I might get around to trying it. I know Disney made a real mess of it, apparently, according to the kids who like the books.
Damn.
I'm not even talking about Artemis Fowl. I'm talking about I never read Artemis Fowl. I'm talking about the hitchhikers thing.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I can lend that book to you because I have it somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I've also got it on my shelf unread. I'll be honest.
But yeah,
okay, that was
all
a
this
detour. But yeah, go ahead, Nick.
yeah. I was gonna say, so yeah, at the end of the day, like it really is this feeling of
Yeah.
I personally like it just comes down to like their choice of what to do with it. Personally,
Yeah.
I was more than set. Like I would have accepted if Mira at the time said, "Hey, this I'm gonna end it." You know, like Vagabond, like he would have made the choice to just stop
Yeah.
there. Like I would have been more than satisfied
Mhm.
personally, because it already impacted my life more than I can personally comprehend.
Yeah.
Because it gave me it helped push this enthusiasm for just diversifying my interests in art and like
Mhm.
interpretations of the world. And it's just one of those things like whatever they decide to do, I'll respect it. I won't personally agree with it if they decide to do that.
I'll still
But
think it sucks that I
I'll
didn't get
understand.
that ending, but like I'll 100% be on his side if that had been the
Yeah,
choice.
absolutely. Like I
Which
just
is
want there to
Vagabond's
be
deal going on right now.
yeah, and I just want there to just be a genuine choice made, not just for the
Mhm.
sake of ending it.
Yeah.
Because as you know, at the end of the day, we just gotta accept not every story ends. So we just
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that's one of those things to consider,
Yeah.
despite everything.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah,
But I will end it on this note again. Berserk and anything Mira was more had more of an impact on my life than I think I can fully put into words, and I really did appreciate everything I did experience through that, and I would again hope that to you, the listener, if you have any interest whatsoever in Berserk, to maybe to give it a shot, see what's up. Again, it is an intense watching and read, but there truly is uh, there truly is a beauty to it that I think once you find, it'll stick to you.
Yeah.
Especially those who have gone through like traumatic events.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Cool. Cool.
Well,
Next topic.
fun thing that I want to bring up real quick.
Yeah. Before we get to another bummer. I warned you, listener, at the beginning. This is the first half of this podcast is going to be bummer,
but
and we're just gonna, but I think it has to be said.
To be said. So here's my fun segue into the thing that we danced around for like 7 minutes at the top.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, you missed it, Nick. That was some dancing.
Oof.
That was some clumsy ass.
It was some real drunk
uncle you see once during the holidays. Style of dancing.
Damn. You guys were like tap dancing on the table, or what's up?
Yeah.
Tap dancing and then throwing just
dirty
everything
dancing,
at the wall.
Really.
Oh my goodness. A bucket of gravy up top. Anyway.
Okay.
I think that a good place to start. I was going to mention. I want to see how much tension I can draw out.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. I did actually want to talk about something that I think a lot of people are talking about, at least on what I'm seeing on social media.
Yeah.
I think that would be a cool slide right into the next subject that we mentioned.
Okay. How was your week?
You know,
Was this your whole month?
I was going to
It
say that, like, when we're thinking about people who are people and treating them like human beings and not, deifying them and thinking that they're perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Okay.
People are real
What
mad
a
at the
bitch
Incredible
ass
Hulk.
move.
A fucking bitch ass move. Thank you.
Incredible.
And but the thing I was gonna say is, like,
Oh, you did, Nick? Do you not know?
No, well, Chris, I wasn't here. What do I know?
No, do you not know about like Mark Ruffalo's thing on Twitter?
Yeah, I know his thing. Like, he says some crazy shit, but like,
Yeah, but usually he's like a good-hearted, like,
yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
it's like what?
and
used
then
to
he
him being on the
back.
right
So you
side
know
of
what?
stuff.
That's great. Okay, here I want to give him the let's say there's a benefit of the doubt, right?
Well, I was going to say almost definitely this is because of the Walt Disney Company.
Oh, I am like convinced that is that. Having said that, that's still a bitch ass move, and Mark Ruffalo should have.
I think that Mark should have really stood his ground.
Are they gonna
and
fire the Hulk?
How can they? People love him. People love him. So, like, when I was thinking about what I wanted to say about this, other than
Yeah.
I think you summed it up great. A bitch ass move.
Yeah, what a
Indeed.
bitch ass like.
I just what staggers me about it is that I think I had mentioned earlier just the way in which his reaction, I think to a certain degree, is also responding to the wrong concerns, I want to say.
Okay.
So that is to say that I think that a lot of the time there are parts of the Jewish community that really lash out at any form of criticism as being anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
And especially so when talking about Israel. Like,
Yeah.
there's almost no way to broach that subject
Mm-hmm.
certainly in a public discourse, without having someone from within the Jewish community say, that is anti-Semitic, or to say that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic inherently.
Yeah, any criticism of like Zionism being a form of supremacy.
Form of colonization.
Yeah, being anti-Semitic.
And I think I had been thinking about it before. I had told you as like there's a lot of the mentality that is like the revenge of the adult nerd, in that I know that sounds like I'm not trying to cutify it. I'm just trying to put it in a different context. I know but the root idea of being an individual or a group who has suffered great indignity, has suffered great loss and pain, and whatever it may be, who then turn around and when they victimize another person, they wear the shield of, well, I was wronged in this way, and I am so therefore I am the victim. Actually, you're continuing to try and victimize me by saying I can't do X and Y. I think that, like, that as a comparison, because we know stories about people who were treated terribly growing up and then grew up to be just assholes.
Yeah, my parents beat me. I'm gonna beat my kid. That's how. I'm not the one at fault there.
Exactly.
It's a cycle of violence. It's what it is, but when you break it down.
But I'm glad that I'm glad you actually asked, because I like the idea of being able to have on the record that people can come and bring up to me that. No, I mean it. I genuinely do.
No, I know. I'm just thinking of the joke again I gave before the podcast. For anyone who missed it, the joke was, Ian, you're Jewish. Wouldn't you like to?
Well,
and just start off like on the worst flip possible for this.
And I don't know how many episodes you all have listened to, but I think we've gone.
I'm pretty sure it's come up. I'm like actually fairly certain I made that joke before, so that's like.
I was going to say specifically with your and I's upbringing, our background.
Like, oh yeah, actually, it probably would have been in that podcast. Huh?
Like, we talked about like half of the part of my family that isn't Jewish is like born again revivalists,
Yeah.
biblical literalists,
It's so
and
wild
so
every time I think about it.
it's really really weird. And so you have half these people who are, you know what, I don't think I can't have a soft term for it, like
Sure.
racist.
Yeah.
They hate Palestinians because they're racists.
Mhm.
And they're they believe in a type of Jewish supremacy.
Yeah.
It's a race classism that like an ideal of hierarchy. And I mean, there's ways in which, like, yeah, the innate kind of premise of Judaism slightly does support an idea like that for people like that. You
Yeah.
know, like Jewish
So
people are very
this,
special, i.e.,
yeah,
everyone else isn't.
yeah. So
Um,
this is well, we talked about Ian like off mic, like the situation, and it was this thing of like there is this very strange like tolerance for anti-Semitism that has grown
yeah.
Mhm.
for the longest time. And I think one thing is to understand that this is anti-Semitism tolerated regardless of your position. It's just one of those things that's just increased over time on every spectrum. There's
Yeah.
just increased tolerance for it because the fact that you're now seeing celebrities say these crazy things, right? Like Mark Ruffalo. You're
Yeah.
seeing people of all spectrums of what their beliefs or their
Yeah.
positions in life having this tolerance for anti-Semitism or just general
Yeah.
acceptance of violence on the streets, and it's just that part is insane to me. That you can't even have the discussion without being condemned for
Yeah.
just bringing it up,
Oh,
like
Yeah.
what Ian said.
I absolutely agree. It's surreal to me, and it's embarrassing. And I
Mhm.
know that's like the least of it for everybody, but like
Yeah. And
being
I don't.
associated with
Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
go
Go ahead.
ahead. Just being associated with it it's morbidly embarrassing. It's awful,
Yeah.
awful.
There's always this thing. Anytime you criticize, quote unquote, your own people, or but people of your race or anything, that like you're part of that anti-Semitic or your race, I would be like considered racist towards Hispanic or Mexican culture. Anytime there's like a thing of, I think that's a bad aspect of that culture that we should condemn. Shit,
Mhm.
the first episode of Boondocks is about that entire that the
Well,
garden
yes,
party is about that entire idea. Um,
absolutely.
but at some point you see injustice, you have to stand up to it, even if it's again part of that your own culture or the culture you've been a part of, I guess.
Absolutely is. And I want to say one other thing, just
Yeah.
kind of as a it'll be a tease for later, everyone.
Ooh, shit.
So I just binged a whole show for the first time in forever.
Okay.
And I'll talk about that later. But the show strongly deals with themes of um, war
Mhm.
and being displaced,
Yeah.
or having your home occupied and taken away,
Yeah.
or the process of becoming an asylum seeker
Mhm.
in another country. And there's a moment in one of these stories wherein I won't spoil it entirely, but you get to see a refugee escape and come across the border into a new country,
Mhm.
and you've already seen at this point 3 seasons of violence, intimidation, just all the kind of horrors that you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, in that reality, what would it be like to have only a handful of people talk about what's going on in your country?
Mhm.
And second of all, what's it like if the handful of people who do are immediately shut down as being, actually, you're bigoted for even mentioning this.
Yeah.
It's not any of your business to even comment on, and that kind of thing. Like, that would be so deeply demoralizing to the people who are victimized by that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100% agree. So for anyone who's even like slightly confused or anything, I want to make it very clear that we are. You wouldn't think we'd have to bring this up, but we are anti-genocide, and what is going on right now. While and I told Ian this. While it started off, yeah, it starts off very complicated. What's going on right now is not. It is so incredibly obvious ethnogenocide, despite headlines like trying to do the both sides interpretation, to the point where it seems like they're just lying because they're trying to stick to that rule.
And I mean, the fact of our particular relationship with is with our I should say our government's particular relationship with the Israeli government.
Yeah.
Uh, it should give anybody pause. I think the kind of nature that of that relationship. It
Yeah.
is certainly singular in a way that I don't know. I don't know. That's all I'm saying is
Yeah.
it's really unlike anything else. And the amount of allowance for that for some reason we afford that is just not done in other places. It is very
Yeah.
inconsistent, at least on our part.
Absolutely.
But,
And I don't know. I don't have too much else to say other than that hard stance. I mean, I brought it up sort of with Ian in that growing up, this was the conflict you were, at least for those. I don't know if people remember. For me and Ian, it was growing up. It was this is like where World War III was going to start. So you were more aware of this situation than some of the others, if you were willing to give a look. Having said that, I am like acutely aware that I don't know a lot of things, and I am not like an expert or anything, but I still stand by that this is so obviously a genocide going on. Um, and Ian, if you have anything else to say, go for it, because I'm just gonna end this on a poem that I came across while looking up stuff that I think acutely summarizes what's happening. Anything else to
all
add?
I can say is that when I look at this, I'm slightly encouraged just by the fact that so many people are now at this moment ready to say what is happening and name it, call it, violence, to call it criminal, to call it, unexcusable.
Yeah.
I am also, I mean, in a way, I'm also gladdened just to see the numbers as far as nations of the world.
Yeah.
There's a majority of the world who is ready to condemn in the United Nations, and it's only a small minority of America, Canada, and like a handful of small nations. I think about 6
Yeah.
who don't see what is happening,
Yeah.
and who will not act, or who refuse to acknowledge it. Certainly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And gosh, I just kind of hope that within the United States, within the Canada to our north, that hopefully we can see what everybody else sees, and we can, acknowledge and address that.
Yeah.
But
absolutely. I guess one more thing to add to the thing, because that we're growing. As we become aware of doing this podcast, you have to say more than you think would be obvious. In that, yeah, I know Hamas is very guilty of some of horrible, horrible things against humans, but there is just a point where what Israel is doing has just skipped over to straight up genocide.
if you actually, look at the numbers of things and the ways in which these things are done, it's ridiculous. And in my opinion, I don't think that this is a dynamic that has just happened. It's something that is just being talked about more broadly.
This was inevitable.
The military bombing of a private enterprise building with tenants who were both Palestinian and American journalists. That's not the first instance of the Israeli army doing something like this.
No.
And if you are, there's this very strange program that I happen to know some kids growing up who are part of it, which is if you can prove you're ethnically Jewish, the state of Israel will pay.
What's it called? The trip of your life right or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I knew kids who had done it.
Yeah.
And one thing I can tell you is there is. I don't know how else to say it other than there's a certain way that people act when they know they're being watched.
Oh yeah.
And when they told me that when clearly Americans were in certain public spaces, suddenly if there was like conflict happening, suddenly it dissipates. Oh, Americans are coming. Everything's fine. And so
that's fucking weird.
The people who perpetrate that kind of violence,
yeah,
they know what they're doing is evil and wrong, and they know that if they were watched doing it, they clearly are ashamed of it in some regard, or if not ashamed, certainly they know their culpability. So that's all.
Gotcha. Well, that because you had mentioned sort of the Associated Press thing, that'll lead into I think the final words I'll give on this, and then we can get into the quote unquote fun stuff, I guess. But this is a poem that I came across because I follow Robert Evans, who is an amazing journalist about all things, and everyone should go check him out. It's I think he retweeted this from someone else. I would have to look it up. From Joel S. It's a poem by Lena, and I'm gonna mispronounce this, so I apologize. Lena Khalif Tufaha. It's called Running Orders. I think it's one of the more famous ones she's done. All right. They call us now, before they drop the bombs. The phone rings and someone who knows my first name calls and says in perfect Arabic, "This is David." And in my stupor of sonic booms and glass-shattering symphonies still smashing around my head, I think, do I know any Davids in Gaza? They call us now to say run. You have 58 seconds from the end of this message. Your house is next. They think of it as some kind of wartime courtesy. It doesn't matter that there is nowhere to run to. It means nothing that the borders are closed and your papers are worthless and mark you're only for a life sentence in the prison by the sea and the alleyways are narrow and there are no human lives. There are more human lives packed one against the other more than any other place on earth. Just run. We aren't trying to kill you. It doesn't matter that you can't call us back to tell us the people we claim to want aren't in your house, that there's no one here except you and your children who were cheering for Argentina, sharing the last loaf of bread for this week, counting candles, left in case the power goes out. It doesn't matter they have children. You live in the wrong place and now is your chance to run to nowhere. It doesn't matter that 58 seconds isn't long enough to find your wedding album or your son's favorite blanket or your daughter's most completed college application or your shoes or to gather everyone in the house. It doesn't matter what you had planned. It doesn't matter who you are. Prove you're human. Prove you stand on two legs. Run. Yeah, she won awards for a reason.
I mean, that's Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think it says more than any of my not good words will ever say. So I'll leave it at that. Again, to make it very clear, a Storyteller cast is anti-genocide. So that is Lena Khalifa. God I feel so bad. Kalaf Tufaha.
Mm.
And the poem is called Running Orders.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
I guess the question now is how everyone responds to it.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it's a
truly
quote unquote
respond to that.
ceasefire, but shit's still happening. So
Yeah.
When did they actually? I hadn't heard that already.
yeah, I heard the ceasefire. I think it was like 4 days ago or something, as of this recording. But they are still rounding people up and shit.
Sure. Oh. Sure.
Yeah, man. It's fucked. We do what we can. Yeah, go support. Try to support directly the families if you can.
And
try to avoid organizations that you're not too sure about.
Let me just say, I one last thought is,
Yeah.
I would be very happy if we saw more outlets actually have first person accounts of the folks living there actually going through this, having these phone calls, who have experienced this themselves, because
there's not many out there.
And the last one died.
Yeah.
The last one was so I think it's ever more present to have them come on and say what they have to say. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey
gang.
So that was again
that was
I would apologize, but I mean we did give the warning, and I don't think these are two things we should necessarily be sorry about. We should be trying to do what we can. I will offer this to Nick and Ian. Do you want to take like a 5-minute break?
Sure, let's take a
rebound.
Take a breath, take a drink.
Yeah, I gotta use the bathroom.
All right. Would you like to?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask. Would you, Nick? Would you like to lead off when we come back?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Great.
Sick. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. I'll stop the recording here, and then pick it back up once we get back. we are back from our break. I want to thank you, all the listeners, for just being you. No, for sticking around, and well, also for being you. Hey. We talked about it. We just want to make sure we're very clear about where we're at, and that we're not trying to hide behind anything.
Or
Yeah.
coming from a place of like ignorance on a very important
Yeah.
matter, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely
And
not. Yeah.
if there's anything I try to do on this podcast more often is to admit, yeah, I don't know as much as I probably should.
Mm.
I should probably educate myself more, but then other things are so incredibly obvious, I guess. But
Know what's going out there, guys? I don't. I
yeah,
live here.
I live here. All right, so yeah, Nick, you want to take this one? Go first for your month.
Yeah, sure.
I
I
think
mean,
me and you have some
before,
overlapping stuff anyway. So
yeah, so I'll leave those overlapping stuff to you, Chris.
okay, cool.
So I'll just
'Cause I
talk about
don't
my
do
own
much.
personal things. Yeah, there it is. Well, I mean, I guess if we're not so for like media consumed, I guess in general, just at the moment of this recording, it's just been a lot of projects and things like that.
Yeah.
I started training for brewing, so I'm doing
Yay.
that now.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I got my first small batch being put out in 4 weeks. They said so.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on tap soon at my
Now
work.
that
So
was
that's
the
fine.
one where you just picked out the ingredients, right? You haven't done the
It's a
full
little bit of
mash
both.
stuff yet. A little bit of both.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I can't take the full credit.
Yeah, it's
I'm still in
the
the
brewmaster there.
yeah, absolutely, because I'm just working under him.
Yeah.
So all credit to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides that, it's been interesting. I've been consuming music a lot more, and it definitely like shows how different. Well, at least I'm starting to reflect on how different like my views and like my take on music has been
Oh
over the
yeah,
past
that
couple
that
years.
happened to me when I started re-listening to like the thrash and like death metal stuff I used to listen to. Because black metal
Yeah.
never really left me, but like black and thrash, like I did ignore for a bit.
Hmm.
Yo, Vader's still awesome. Like those guys should have got more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Onslaught, that Power from Hell is still like one of the best death metal albums. I can't wait to find out if they're like super racist or something, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's always a fun one for a metal band you like.
You guys.
I'm sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I was gonna say so. Yeah, so on that note, a lot of the music I'm listening to is like going back to a lot of old collections of like future funk from like 2013, 2014 of this recording, and then it's just been that, yeah, going back to a lot of like early 2000s. How to describe this? It's a lot of like the R&B and like whatever was popular at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it made me think about like just not only how much has changed and like how much the approach to music has changed over the course of like 2 decades essentially at this point. Or like the standard now for media is so high and so like desensitized to the process that you just expect like things to be put out a certain quality at a certain time.
I also like. I think one of the bigger aspects of that is
Mm-hmm.
mastering. Like
Mm-hmm.
how the quality has changed for even like the smallest producers or composers or
Yeah.
bands has
Mm-hmm.
become. And then I go, man, I fucking love Bathory, and it sounds like it was recorded in like a person's bathtub
Yeah.
with like a shitty Marshall, and I'm like, yeah, fucking sick.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it's
different.
it's just a great yeah. And it's funny because like their mixing did get better with like a lot of their concept albums with Hammerheart and things like that.
Yeah,
So
when they had a little bit more money.
a little bit, not too much.
Not too much, sadly.
Enough to notice. They got a
Man, it
bigger market.
sucks,
No,
right?
not.
Like they should have gotten like full orchestras, but whatever. It's
Yeah. Again, they were doing what no one else was doing,
they were
but
doing what
besides
no one
the
else was
point,
doing. They were ahead of their time, and they're still one of the best. It's fucking wild.
yeah. So besides that, a lot of what I've been listening to has been again, I was just binging Sewer Slut's entire discography
Yeah,
two or three
she's great.
times. At this point, I'm convinced like she's one of my favorite producers in general.
Ooh.
I absolutely love her process. Um, and I went through Colin Stenson's discography.
Oh
I
yeah, that
listened
I'm
to.
excited to talk to you about. Yeah, what do you think?
Oh, dope. So, which ones did you listen to
So I've just listened to
before?
both the war ones. The
Okay,
what's it? Not war stories. Tales of War, Volume 1 and 2. It's something like that. It's the one with the horses
Mhm.
on the cover.
the New History Warfare.
New History Warfare, Volume 1 and 2. Yeah.
Okay,
Those are the
so
ones I'm more familiar with. I think I've heard snippets from others, but those are the ones I know.
the third volume is the most popular one, To See
Wow,
More
that's
Light.
weird. Okay, so I
That's
still haven't listened to that.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say like a track from Volume 3, To See More Light from Colin Stenson's New
Mhm.
History Warfare project is the track. Let me see.
The one they used for
This
Uzumaki
I
trailer?
yeah, To See More Light, I believe it's called.
Oh, okay, I thought that was in
Just
Volume 2. I guess I was wrong.
no, I distinctly remember because when I binged like his work, like that's the
Yeah.
first thing that popped out. So Volume 3 is like where most of the stuff he's known for is.
Yeah.
Essentially, quote breakthrough like
Mhm.
part. And then I personally listened to all this I do for glory, and then his
Yeah.
more like ambient project,
Hmm.
the rain like curses,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
Mhm.
a track that was definitely focused on more ambient rather than like a full like concept, like a very direct concept album.
yeah. Okay.
So this I will say, it's not really an exaggeration to say, even if you do not like the music,
Hmm.
to say this guy is like on another level with his writing,
Yeah,
and
dude.
he he is one of those guys like you just appreciate on a technical level
Yeah,
and on a performance and professional level if
yeah.
you're any musicianship.
He has that Kenny G circular breathing technique.
Yes.
Ian, I'm not even joking. It's the same exact thing Kenny G talks about.
Okay.
That scientists are
Okay.
like, that's not actually possible, but then they're like, shut up, we'll do it.
Watch when I do it right now.
Watch, I do
I'll
it right
double
now.
jump right now. I'll double jump right here. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Nick. Go
We can
ahead.
do
I love Colin Stenson's work, so I feel like I keep having to say something, but
absolutely no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
it's
Because
fucking. Oh, it's
like
beautiful. It's haunting. It's like hauntingly beautiful. I think is like the general like paint, the type of style. But there's
yeah,
so much more to each song,
yeah.
and like just these depths he reaches just with his saxophone, and how he does his solo acts is wild.
Hmm.
And you wouldn't even and
Yeah,
like just seeing him play a giant baritone that like the baritones are almost like as tall as he is.
yeah,
They're fucking wild, but baritone saxes.
yeah. Yeah, like when you visually see what is happening, like when
Yeah,
you listen to it and then you actually see what's happening, it's thinking, oh, this guy is on another level. Like he's
yeah,
genuinely like has mastered a technique
yeah,
that literally not everyone can do.
yeah,
Sound is evocative of like natural phenomenon almost.
yep,
Like, you know what I mean? It's like listening to a hive of bees or the sound of the ocean. Like
yeah,
it's a great massing living thing.
yeah.
Uh
The track they used
Beautiful.
for the Uzumaki trailer for Adult Swim, I think, was purposely chosen because it sounds like It sounds like what you think a spiral would sound like.
Mm.
like what
I
a
mean,
circle would sound like if it kept spinning.
yeah, it has that. I don't know if it actually has this, but I think you would know, Nick, the term for those two tones that when they play next to each other sound like they're perpetually descending.
Ending. Oh, like a like a. Oh, are you talking about like two notes when they sound like they're descending or like they're
Yeah, the thing that
Right.
Mario does in Mario
shift?
64.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh shoot, I'm going blank because I'm drunk as shit. But like, I know exactly what you're talking about because it's one of those techniques that it depends on. Like, if you're on a string instrument, that's no problem. If you're on
Yeah.
a wind instrument, that's like black magic because like to have like no, besides dexterity, it's literally all in like the technique of your mouth and throat and
Your
then to your chest
fucking
and
lungs.
diaphragm.
Yeah.
Like,
Do circular breathing, guys. Like,
There's,
yeah,
that's
there's
that's the solution.
the only other person I know that got close to what Colin Stetson did, and I know it's completely unintentional. It's just a habit from this musician. Is the lead saxophone player for the Seatbelts. When he did the saxophone parts for Tank for Cowboy Bebop and then for Space Dandy, even to this day, I do know for a fact that Yoko Kanno can't figure out how he did it. Those squeals you hear and the way
Yeah.
he's able to like control his tongue and back of his throat. Legit iron lungs. Like Chris said, I'm convinced like that dude Honda, I forget his last name. I'm so
Uh-huh.
sorry. But the main saxophone player for Seatbelts that everyone's heard if you listen to Cowboy Bebop or Space Dandy or any of Watanabe's work at the time. I'm convinced iron lungs, or he has an ability to exceed more air than a regular person.
Yeah. And that's also possible.
Yes. And so with Colin Stenson, I'm convinced that he has some innate ability to like control his throat and like his vocal cords to that he's able to vibrate like his voice box as he's exhaling rather than you have to exhale and then talk or like inhale and then talk where he's able to do that. Well, it's like that joke, remember that dumb Jack Black skit, inward breathing?
yes.
Yeah.
It's actually that's what you're actually seeing.
It's circular breathing, man. The Kenny G experience. That's what they say they're doing, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah,
Who knows? Oh,
I
by the way,
fucking love
Ian,
it.
I think you're thinking of a shepherd tone.
That is what I was thinking of. Thank you. Yes.
Oh,
I,
shoot,
I
son.
remember this because I used it for the the Halloween special we did with
Mm.
Sonic Dreams. That was part of the intro music.
Wow.
I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that sound editing I did just a few
I think
months
Yeah,
that's
ago.
some of the best work we've ever done. I don't know what you mean.
That
That's.
will never top it.
Hope you enjoyed the peak, everyone.
Well,
That
hey, I'll
was.
say this: once Ian, you're fully vaxxed, and we do our first Kingdom Hearts stream of the Melody of Memories, that's gonna be a fucking party.
Can
I'm
I
gonna make
can I
sure of it.
tell you guys? I got good news on
Yeah.
that front. Guess what happened yesterday?
Oh, you got the second?
I got a second, and I died. I fucking.
Oh, so
It's
immediately it
like,
wasn't today that you died?
no, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday night, Tuesday evening. I got the shot. I felt kind of bad that night,
Yeah.
and then by the next night, I felt like I was actually dying. Um, I was like, "What's wrong? Why?" And then I
Yeah.
slept for 13 hours.
Damn.
Then, yeah, I went to bed at like 7.
And that's
I
supposed to
and
be like a small portion of what would have happened if you gotten like COVID.
can't imagine.
Yeah.
Can't imagine. Yeah.
I just got like muscle aches the next day. Like I was really sore. I just didn't
I
do
was
anything.
a migraine. I had a migraine and
Yeah,
muscle
Nick got a
aches
migraine.
I got a migraine and really deep chills. So I can't imagine if I
Yeah.
actually got it. Like that would be that. It'll be whatever I experienced times like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And what I had when I got it was like, yeah, literally from my jawline and my face to like my legs, like
Yeah.
top to bottom. I
Yeah,
felt
Nick got it
chills,
worse
like
than I
really.
did.
Yeah. I ended up going down to the drugstore and I picked up a gallon of water from the cooler and I
Yeah.
slept with it. I like spooned a gallon jug of water.
Yeah.
all night.
You gotta do the cure. You gotta do the Pedialyte. Pedialyte
Oh my
cure.
god. Would have been actually would have been good. That would have been wiser.
It's fucking magic. That's what that thing is.
Pedialyte can take a hangover and make you fine in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
But
For those who don't know,
yeah.
I literally saved Ian's life with Pedialyte. So.
Holy shit! That was right before lockdown, by the way.
Yeah, that was like
Wow.
right before.
Yeah. So
that was. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick. I know Nick's trying to get in. Nick, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so to take a load off the annual, or at this point, like every episode, the Monogatari train.
Oh
right?
God.
So to take it off that, I'm gonna talk about Fate. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna talk about why he black though. No,
well, why though? No one's ever.
It's a tan. It's a really
he's evil.
Tan.
Is what they tell me, and I don't like that answer.
No, he's not dark because he's evil.
But he is evil.
He got a tan doing evil things, Chris.
Oh, there you go. The evil things turned
he was
him dark.
outside a lot. He was outside a lot killing children. Chris, do you have any idea how many times I explained this to you?
Yeah, but why did he become black though?
It's not race. It's a genocide thing. God, Chris, look.
But why does dark evil in this universe?
In Fate, I don't know.
Because he's not the only character, and I know that.
That's dark because he's evil.
No, that the evil version is a darker version of the character.
No.
Chris.
What?
Are we just gonna sit here and talk about Japanese cultures and views on like?
No. I think we've touched upon this exact subject before too, so I'm not gonna even.
Okay, so on a lighter note,
yeah,
I watched. Well, at least I checked out the author from Monogatari, Nisio Isen's his latest work, his latest like series of books got a recent anime, like OVA adaptation, so it's like 7 books.
Yeah.
Let's see. It literally came out of this recording like a month ago in April. Because I read like the first 2 volumes, so it's called Pretty Boy Detective Club.
Okay.
Yeah, I did hear about
and it's essentially So it's essentially it's like a mystery novel where it's literally taking the trope of the boy that dresses up as a girl goes into like the all girls school. Where hang on. Yeah, I know you're excited, but hang on.
I'm waiting.
Again, like it's that thing of like it takes the trope and does it really.
Yeah, okay.
What? Chris,
I thought you were gonna try to run it back. I thought you were gonna try to run it back, and then I was gonna go, Nick, get out of this hole and just keep talking about the thing.
I'm trying to talk about a thing I like, Chris.
I know, and I predicted wrong. I called out wrong, and I stopped myself. And then you're like, "Let's bring this up." You're the one at fault for that. I didn't do it.
You're gonna kill me, man.
Okay.
Holy shit. Okay.
Go ahead.
I was saying because it's the thing that this writer does so well, where it's literally the deconstruction and the interpretation of tropes or like societal like norms and standards expected of you. So it's literally so it's coming as I'm sorry. It's man, I'm fucking drunk.
Jesus, man.
I'm sorry. It's the Oran High School. Ian, Oran High School. Host Club.
Don't use
that.
All familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, it's that, but like serious. It's like that, but like a more serious version. That's the way to describe it, Ian.
The one with
look at me through the mic, Ian.
You know what?
Oran High School Host Club. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Oran Host Club, but it's a more serious take on it, and actually has genuine like.
What the fuck is
It
this
definitely has a.
creature?
It definitely has a thing to say about like.
So, are
Kind
we
of like
talking about
you know,
gender roles or
Yes.
just regular Okay.
both is what we
Okay.
live in, but like both, right? I'm saying that it's good. It's really good. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like,
I'm sorry.
because visually it's gorgeous. Like visually, like
I
it's such
can't.
a unique take on his work, and they
Yeah.
actually took like the the artist from there to lead it. Same with Katana Gatsu. So you literally get a really unique visual like cues on it, and there's like genuine, like the pacing in it is really like it goes real, but it goes real quick. Like the 23-minute episodes, but they go fast. Like it's 7 minutes. It's like 7 minutes. It's 7 episodes, super condensed. Like it's great.
Okay.
Again, like I'm only into it because I generally love his writing. So I just love the way he. I just genuinely love his interpretation of these characters. Because if you're someone that really enjoys like a group of characters, like trying to navigate through them through like where the story is like a group of characters going through the environment where each episode is like a different like situation that the characters are put in.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's a genuine like growth in the characters as the show goes along.
Okay.
Kind of like Watanabe style.
Oh, tight. Okay.
It's like that.
Okay.
So that's why I liked reading it. I never got to finish it because again, I'm just waiting at this point for all of it to be localized as of this recording. And yeah, the show's really good. I would recommend the show before the book, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a genuine like take on it that you don't really see much in general. Like I just don't see a lot of media where it's like the female perspective on like male like norms and standard, where it's like her understanding like there's certain expectations and like certain emotional and like sexual repressions that are brought on that should be considered. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just appreciate it. So yeah, it's a good show.
What was that? There was a tweet I saw about writing. I think it was like a meme, but it was like male perspective uh writing girls, and it's just like it's just but then female perspective writing boys is like fucking rad. It's super interesting to read. Been thinking about that a little bit lately.
I definitely think that there's a lot of space for female protagonists that would be really fun to explore. That we're just starting to kind of see people dip their toes into, which
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! I mean, you go ahead, please.
I was gonna say, like, Ian, did you watch any anime from the 80s and 90s? Like, there were so many, like, all this shit. Like, and what's crazy is that, like, on top of that, like literally the Japanese, like, guild of directors was created for anime and, like, animation and, like, film directors to have more perspective, or, like, be allowed to have more unique interpretations rather than, like, the standard.
Yeah. But what I think Ian's
whatever it
getting at is there's definitely that there's more unique perspectives now than there was.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. Like, I rather have
Yeah, we got interesting
that.
shit going on. Apparently these last 2 seasons of anime are like amazing.
Oh yeah,
And I'm just not caught up or anything.
Okay, so that's a perfect segue because I'm literally going to get to that. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So on top of that, another book series I read years ago came back as an OVA show. I think you both would love, and I want to pitch to you guys.
Okay, please.
Ready? Bible Black,
Triple X Holic.
Triple X Holic. Why they built like that?
Why they look like that? Look, it looks better in the manga. I've seen the art because I had a friend. I knew she liked it. Yeah. I was like, oh well, the manga, because the manga pages are each little panel is like this own really detailed drawing that you do like mess with these characters' proportions. Oh, but that anime, man.
Yeah,
they were not meant to move.
Clamp style looked a little weird in motion.
Yeah they were not.
But
They were not meant to move.
So here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing with this. Only thing I'll say about Holic, right?
Okay.
I think the show worked during action scenes and during when they had interpretations of mythological creatures, right? They were genuinely great scenes.
Yeah.
Mostly due in part to like animators like Shinji Hashimoto, the guy who worked on Paranoia Agent and.
But even them couldn't make them walk normal.
Yes, because when you have these proportions and looking like that in a regular Japanese like Japanese high school setting, and you're supposed to pretend like they're normal human beings.
Well, they're not. They're clearly aliens.
Yeah, they're like fucking long neck, fucking weird looking ass, built like a spoon, like fucking. It's jarring. It's jarring as hell.
But we got it in. We did our triple X Holic.
Reset. Okay, there you go. But it's timestamp this, Chris, for Holic spoiler cast.
Yo, this Kirby pin, this angel, realistic angel Kirby pins, like my new.
Chris, how was your week? Fuck it. Fuck my
No,
thing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm just bitching this thing.
No, the pin is great, Chris. We made it very clear. The pin is nice. It looks very nice. It goes spinny.
It does.
My God.
Pin go burr.
The series called 86. Okay, the series is called 86.
Like get rid of?
Yes. 86 those children. 86 this chicken. 86 my life. There's no more chicken on the line.
I'm looking it up the anime.
Okay. So the anime is better than the book, and I fucking love the book.
Oh, these tank designs are kind of neat.
So I'll talk about the story first, and then like how there's like the interpretations of it, the book series and the show. Okay.
Oh, it has that thigh bulge from Thigh Highs.
I'm gonna fucking.
You know the thing that goes over the top of the thigh high.
Fuck my thing, Chris. What'd you watch?
Thing of skin. Nick, listen, I'm looking up the anime. You're talking.
Yes. Chris,
all right, I'm sorry.
Why can't you have both? Why is it either big robots and no big thighs? Chris,
no, like... I'm not criticizing anything. I just like, well, there's that detail. I'm not saying nothing.
Oh my God.
We'll get through this.
Holy shit!
Oh my God, all these videos are blocked out. Okay, fine. I guess I won't look up a trailer again.
What about the story?
Yeah,
what would you say most prescient to you, or most?
The story is pretty much what a lot of the 2000 Gundams were trying to go for.
Okay.
But they couldn't. But it definitely showed that there was this demand for power fantasies, because essentially anime and a lot of Japanese media went through what a lot of people describe after the art movements in the 80s and 90s as an identity crisis, where essentially you had a lot of these directors and a lot of people coming on that there wasn't an established view. There wasn't a new audience now for animation media when things would be localized, and there just wasn't a foundation for like any series or show that had giant robots in, or any show that had like romance in it. There wasn't this expectation or standard established of like, if you saw a show with these kind of characters, oh, then the show's going to be about this. If there's a giant robot in it, oh, it's going to be like this. Oh, yeah. So essentially during this time, there was the double-edged sword of that, but then there's trying to keep traditions with it. So that's where I think Gundam Wing kind of failed in this anti-war / romance / you know what I mean? Like it was a bit jarring at times, and like a lot of people, especially rewatching that stuff now. So I think where 86 works is that it's the mecha anti-war story. However, it has a romance built from the themes of prejudice and discrimination and understanding the side of another person's like life essentially through it. And it's the only I told Chris it's the only book I think of where in light novel or in manga that one of the main characters is the result of was born in an encampment when that's based off the Japanese American
Oh,
encampments
this
in
is the
Los
one you told me
Angeles.
about. Yeah, this sounds
Yeah.
that
Oh,
sounded interesting.
So one of the main characters was born inside one of these encampments because the encampments were built for years. They essentially were established for years. So anybody of a certain descent within a certain nation were essentially a lot of children were being born in these encampments. And the option was either you go to war or you stay in this cage. Like those were the option.
Yeah.
You go in this giant robot or you stay in the cage.
Damn. Well, that sounds
So
interesting. That sounds more interesting than most shit I've seen. Or most
Yeah.
anime I've seen.
But yeah, the show is like it sucks because then like I can't spoil it beyond that point because what happens
Alright,
after
then-
is like
No, honestly, don't. I think you've sold it. Like in my opinion, if you're trying to sell.
yeah, I'm pretty interested in it. And did you say that this was set out during the 2000s?
no, it's again like
This
the
came out
like I
on
said
April 11th. The anime did at least.
the anime did, but the book series has been going on since like early 2010s.
Okay.
And yeah, the alias that the author goes to is Asado Asado.
Okay.
The very first book, like again, like it got super popular because of the show, but I think like it really shows a testament to just a focus on what led anime to be accepted as it is came from these medias about anti-war like Gundam, and then like you know a lot of these things that happen to have giant robots, but instead it's like hard, you know, it's like it's called real mech, essentially like Photons, Gundam, early Gundam.
Yeah, you have
and
to. Oh, go ahead.
I say like so to make the distinction.
Yeah.
Because
real mech or magic mech.
Magic mech, like Gundam Seed.
Like JUT or fucking.
It's a cockpit.
Well, and then there's super robots.
Yes.
Which are they? Is that part of like? Would that be magic mech or super robots their own thing?
I mean, it's magic mech is like a subgenre, and the genre is super robots.
Super robot, right? Okay, yeah.
That's one way to look at it. So magic mech would be a lot of stuff in the 2000s, like I said, because magic mech is a product of the identity crisis, essentially, in the art movements from the 80s and 90s. And I do feel like 86 is, yeah. I wish.
Keep going.
Giant storm. But yeah, the show's good.
That's good.
I think you
Gundam,
two would
the original Gundam is so fucking good, you guys. Like,
it's very, very good.
As someone who watched it, I think last year was it?
Mm-hmm.
Per Nick's request, so we can go see Char's Counterattack in theaters. Yo, that original Gundam is pretty fucking good. It's a lot better than I thought.
Your soul's way down by
better than I thought it would. Honestly,
your soul's way down by gravity.
Hell yeah, it is, dude. Yo, man, Char can get it.
Apparently a lot. Apparently.
Well, apparently to a point where it's fucking weird. And like, why does Amuro look the same, but Char looks like a fucking middle-aged man in Char's Counterattack?
Oh man, Chris, you should see him. Did I show him what he looks like in Unicorn?
Yeah, oh, God,
they're both in their 40s.
Yeah,
like.
What was it again? They look fucking
so funny.
Ridiculous.
Char and Gundam Unicorn, Ian. That Unicorn was essentially like the latest in the timeline of Char and Amuro. Like,
dude, the fucking.
It looks like Triple H looking.
I know. Yeah, Triple H. That's the hairstyle I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
He grows it back. He got rid of it, and he got it back.
Yeah. So, I will say, I think you two would like the show, and if you like the show, I would recommend reading the books. Yeah.
Why does Char look the same? Or not Char?
You know, I mean, you know me. I like giant robots, so I try to support like
Giant robots are
any of the
cool.
stuff coming out. So, and yeah, like Chris said, like legit, like the past 2 seasons, like packed for anime is just legit fantastic. I think because we're so desensitized to the seasonal thing, like we just can't accept it or like
Oh, also, I
comprehend.
just
Like,
can't. There's no time anymore.
too old. Yeah.
There's no time. I can't. I
Okay.
can't tell you. Like, I can't sample stuff.
Do you have a time to talk about something else, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing on top of that, so if we're talking about robots and the real and like well, Chris brought up with fantasy, and like we talk a lot about the distinctions being made about the genres interpretations of sci-fi through giant robots, whether they're a personification of war machines or a personification of a vehicle for expressing certain psychological themes, like an Evangelion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that 13 Sentinels is all vague. Don't worry, Chris. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Okay.
13 Sentinels is not only one of my favorite games of all time now, it is probably my favorite giant robot anything.
Wow.
So this is beyond Gundam, beyond
that's
Getter, beyond Gurren Lagann, beyond Fully Cooley.
Holy shit.
I think that 13 cent it's weird because I feel like it should be an exaggeration, or like I should be overhyping it.
Yeah.
But I think if you two have any interest in science fiction with a robot in it, I do think 13 Sentinels is my favorite of that.
Gotcha.
And on top of that, it achieves what I see a lot of, where a lot of authors try to interpret what would it actually take for a giant robot to be in a metropolitan city and being used for a weapon from the military, or like trying to justify kids and robots. So before this, it was Bokurano. I think Bokurano had my favorite take on that, on like the reasoning for, or like trying to set up, and like the exposition being kids getting in the giant robot to fight the giant monster.
Yeah.
I do think 13 Sentinels also has such a unique take on what it means to find an identity with the thing you enjoy in life. And I think it has so many themes going on, and so many, like, I'm not even talking about the gameplay because I fucking love the gameplay and I can't spoil, because I'll start spoiling it if I talk about it. So I'm just talking from a writing and perspective. Like, it just achieves so much that I'm legit blown away. It didn't get any more awards than it did.
Oh,
And I feel like I should be exaggerating. I feel like when you guys play it, you guys are gonna like say I overhyped it, but I am at it. But now I'm at it. But after finishing it, I am adamant.
I'll fight you.
It's something. It is something special. Like, not only in video games, but as a media in general, or like as a writing. Like, the fact that it achieves what it achieves in writing is incredible. It really is a testament to a celebration of science fiction and giant robots.
Nice.
Oh wow! I mean, it's glowing. It's a glowing
excited
review.
to get back on it when I can.
Yes.
Okay.
But I will say the music's fantastic. I've been blasting it like nonstop.
Okay.
It's definitely, it definitely shows how much they're inspired by early PS2, you know, like Armored Core and all that stuff. And yeah, it's just one of the best, man. That's all I can say about 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
Yeah.
Are you watching that on Crunchyroll as well right now?
No, it's a game. That's the game. That's the game I told Ian. That's the game I told you about, and I told you like you spoiled it unintentionally.
Oh shit! That's right. I do remember saying that.
Yeah. So don't tell Chris, but yeah.
Would Ian be able to play it because it's mostly visual novel?
Yes.
All right, Ian, play it.
Okay. Let me look about it. I'll get it.
Oh, the only thing is though, I think it's only PS4.
Yeah, it's only
And I
PS4.
think that's stopping it from being like uber popular, in my opinion. But
I agree. I think it would easily encompass like with Nier Automata and like everything else people
God, I hope it gets a Steam port.
associate. I do too. I hope it gets everything because it deserves to be on
Yeah,
everyone's
the
like
very
list
least I
or
want
something.
is a Steam port. Like if I had to
Like
choose between
holy
the Switch or the Steam, I would rather that.
yeah, holy shit! Like that's one of my favorite things now ever. Like I'm
Yeah.
just baffled. Like it didn't get the like more praise than it got. Like when
Yeah,
it came out. But yeah,
gotcha.
that's what I'll say about that. Trying
Okay.
to see what else because if we're talking about movies, and I'll talk about one thing that covers what we both experienced, Chris, and then you
Okay.
can take the reins after. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine. Ian, you cool with that?
That sounds great to me.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so it's a neat, smoother transition.
Yeah.
So we did. So I was able to watch Crimson Peak first. I
Ooh.
rewatched it with my parents because they never got to see it.
I gotta watch that.
And I do stand by that Crimson Peak has the most visually. Well, now knowing the production behind Crimson Peak, I'm more impressed by what they were able to achieve digitally because it's the most digital like use they had.
Yeah.
Production wise, I'm aware of.
Yeah. It was one of the most Del Toro ever did.
Yeah.
Even though like the sets and costumes were not like they were real.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a bit of practicality. I know
Yeah.
he's a big fan of that still.
Saw those dresses
Yeah.
in person. Fucking rad.
So yeah, before the story of Crimson Peak is the most apparent, in my opinion, of Del Toro's take or like his habit or his trope of monsters with evolution, like the evolution of monsters and the growth of a character's personality like embodied through like how much the monster changes or like their
The monster being a reflection of the character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Crimson Peak, I think, is the most apparent of that. The second one I can think of is, Pan's Labyrinth, and then third one is Hellboy 2 with the plant monster.
Yeah.
So,
Pan's
like from
Labyrinth
beginning to
has a lot of things going on too. It's more than there's monsters that are not just a character, a reflection of the character's turmoil, but also like stuff that's going on in the world and society at the time. But I could talk about that movie forever, so I'll just Crimson Peak.
Yes, please.
Yes, so it still I mean, the story still holds up. Like I was legit blown away. Like it's long, but it was like a little over 2 hours. But
yeah.
But it had very clear like points of like, oh, this is the first act, second act, this is the final act, here's the twist.
Yeah.
And I can see why people would at the time like misinterpret or like be disappointed by the movie. Because the movie was definitely sold by trailers as a horror movie or like had
it
like
was
a thriller.
sold by marketing as like a ghost story.
Which it kind of is.
Which it technically is. But
Giant
it's a
story.
Victorian, like it's a period piece. Like
yeah. Oh, it sure is. I mean, the Victorian, the timepiece tropes of emotional stabbings, a lot of emotional crying stabbing, a lot of incest going on.
Sure is. Surprising amount.
Yeah, especially towards the end where like, wait, are they actually? Oh yeah, they are, huh? But yeah, I did enjoy it. It gets everyone, like the bed scene.
I mean, yeah. I was gasped. I was gasping.
Oh, my pearls.
The lights went out and I screamed, "No, not my finery."
I'm still waiting to have that moment, dude. I want to be in a power outage site and that comes back on and I yell my pearls. It's like on there for me.
So you said that you felt that it held up in that way.
Yeah.
What do you think is kind of its strengths as a film?
I think again, like the strength is definitely the pacing, and also maybe because you get more time with like the monsters, and you're actually like seeing it genuinely evolve.
Mhm.
Definitely that, and the characters. Like I would say, like I was pretty blown away how well the main character, the writer was like how she treated during those intense scenes, and just like the way it's more subtle. Like it's definitely more subtle than like Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think
I,
this might be up there in general. Like I think I like this more than Shape of Water, but
Ooh,
I'll
interesting.
think about that one.
I, I
Oh, you
definitely
can't
agree.
stop thinking about how old the the intelligence level of the merman is.
What's the
The
fish
fish
age of
man.
consent is the
Yeah,
question.
what's the fish age of consent?
I mean, he's technically has to be like a few thousand years old, right? Like
Sure,
that's how
but
they.
intelligence here is what we're talking about. Emotional readiness.
Sure.
You want me to bring up this argument again because it ruined the movie for me, man.
I
And I
feel like we've
fucking
had this conversation so many times.
I bring it up every time because I fucking
Really,
love that movie, but man, I can't not think about it. Like, I really like that movie. I saw that movie in theaters and I almost cried. And I like,
Shape of
uh,
Water.
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Uh,
it.
So
Those are
so
good,
between
man.
those two romances, right?
Yeah.
mhm.
I think overall, I think I like Crimson Peak more
Okay.
than Shape of Water, but I do think Shape of Water's strengths are more
Yeah.
interesting to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're gonna fuck a fish, and then there's some scenes in Shape of Water where they're like, "Ooh, girl, you got a fish, man," and they're like, "Shouldn't you be more freaking out that she's fucking an alien?" Like, but no, it's like Clerks 2. Homegirl fucked an alien. Like,
I'm gonna
there
fuck an
she
alien.
goes.
Was a
It
god.
Who's she
Show
gonna
her
tell? The
god.
government? Like,
is interesting that it's one of those stories that suddenly puts it in a category with a story like Star Trek, where
yeah,
Yeah.
these are two different species, but I guess everyone's chill with the way that's.
with with how things are breaking down.
Uh,
yes.
uh,
But yeah, I was gonna say, but yeah. Besides that, movie's great. It's definitely up there for me for Del Toro's work.
Yeah.
Um, I absolutely love the color palette. It's maybe my favorite use of his colors. Like he has a very
Oh
distinct
yeah,
color
it's got
palette.
it. It's got that whole thing going on.
Yeah, Crimson Peak has like my favorite use of that. Just like the red clay, I thought was
Yeah.
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, besides that, Chris and I sat down and watched the creator of Into Spider-Verse's new movies at the time,
Oh, it's the
the
same
Mitchells
team.
versus the Machines.
The directors Phil Lord and what's his name, Campbell something. I think Campbell.
Yeah.
Um, were producers instead of directors
Mhm.
And
of
what's
that film,
this?
but it's the same team. Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Oh, I've seen trailers for it. I've not sat down to watch it
Yeah.
yet.
So Nick, what do you think?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
It's a
Like
really
general thoughts.
fucking good movie.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my god,
told I
visually it's amazing.
Yeah, so Ian, I told Chris that I think if we include Into the Spider-Verse,
Hmm.
I do think I like it. I do like. I do think I like Mitchell's versus the Machines visually more than Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's some fighting words, cause man, I'm trying to think about it too. I
I'm
saw
just kind of digesting the fucking crazy thing you just said.
I
Like,
know.
this
And for
movie must
remember
be amazing.
and everyone
If
remember
you can say
Nick's
that.
a huge Spider-Man fan.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think. Well, here's the thing. I'm a sucker for the style Mitchell's went for, so I have a big bias against that.
Yeah, it's a really
Mhm.
good
I also
style.
have a big bias for comic style, so
Yeah.
pop art. So
Mhm.
yes, yes. It's like deciding between caramel and butterscotch. It's like
Ooh. Ooh. You know, two great tastes that taste great together. Am I right, guys? Uh,
Oh man.
yes. I will say, like the voice cast was like kind of perfect. Like
Yeah, the
that's the
voice
only way I can
acting's
describe
like
it.
10 on 10.
Yeah.
I know, and I think it's like I think it's the director who plays the kid, the boy.
Oh, it
Oh,
shows.
And
really?
he's fucking great.
Okay.
It's one of
You can
those like
tell.
it couldn't have been anyone else.
Yeah, you can
Right.
tell when like a writer self inserts like one of his character personality that's so unique and distinct. Like,
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's got that Phil Lord and the Campbell touch. Where just it's funny, man. It's a heart at its core. It's a very heartfelt story.
Mm.
Uh, about like moving on and parenting, and like visually, the robot designs are great. Some of the fucking just shots are like fucking wild. And me and Nick agree the entire like mall sequence of that movie, which Ian,
Mm.
once you watch it, you'll get there, is
Mm.
like 12 on 10, 15 on 10.
Oh
It's
my
so
god.
fucking stellar.
Okay.
yeah, it's like you. It's one. I haven't felt this way since the 2000s, where I looked
Yeah.
at like DreamWorks movies, like Prince of
Yeah.
Egypt,
Mhm.
or like in Iron Giant. When you look at
Yeah.
it, and you're like, wait, how'd they do this?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I
I
felt with this movie. Like the mall scene. Yeah, I felt like, how did they do this? Like,
yeah.
I can't figure it out. Like,
I
Yeah.
felt like I shouldn't be streaming this. I should get like a 4K um copy
Copy
of
of it.
this.
Okay.
like a big LED screen. Like that's what it
Yeah.
needs. Like Promare, right?
Yeah, like yeah,
Big
Premiere when we
LED.
saw it in the theaters, and I'm like, this projector can't display enough colors that this movie is trying to do.
Holy shit.
Yo, Mitchell's versus the Machines is really fucking good. Like,
Yeah, I was wondering how would they top Into the Spider-Verse, and they kind of did, at least visually.
it's wild, man.
That's wild,
And
man.
I think Into the Spider-Verse is kind of those perfect like movies where it's one of those like you just don't have a genuine complaint to give
Oh
it,
yeah,
Mm.
or you feel like at the end of the day you're just nitpicking that isn't really a hindrance to the overall experience.
yeah, yeah. I can agree with that. Into Spy Verse is like one of the few movies I'm like, yeah, that's probably a perfect movie. Like, that I can think of.
It's is pretty fantastically done. I agree. Yeah.
Um, Mitchell's versus the Machines. Yeah, highly recommend people go check that shit out.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck? It's really good.
But yeah,
Man,
sorry for the long
like
rant.
Ian, if you watch it, I just want to talk about that entire mall sequence with
Oh
you.
yeah,
Okay.
we got to do a spoiler cast and just have a whole separate segment on the
Yeah,
mall scene.
Sounds good. I'm very excited. Yes. Yes.
yeah, and just how mad I am
So
of some of the jokes they wrote.
yeah,
Okay.
It's one of those.
so luckily all the stuff I talked about was like stuff I had huge praises about and wanted to gush over. So
All right,
thank you for that. So Chris, speaking of which, what else did you see? What
see,
did
we
we
got
watch
30
together?
minutes.
Shit.
What did I? I started watching We Bear Bears. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because I've had ever since that show came out, people kept telling me, "Oh, you should watch it. You should watch it. You should watch it. You'll like it. You'll like it," and I never did, and now I am. Uh, it's funny. It's good. It's a good cartoon. Yo, that cartoon has people in it, like
Yeah.
way more than I thought. Have you seen We Bear Bears, Ian?
I have. My takeaway from it honestly has been that's such a grounded show. It's
It
so
weirdly is like for a talking bear show. Like,
other when you get past the talking animals, it
which
really
I have a
does feel
problem
like
with. You ready? Okay.
well,
Here's Chris's overlooking. No, go ahead, finish Ian before I get into it.
I was just going to say, like, when you get past that, it in some ways actually made me think of a children's BoJack, if that makes sense. Not in that that it is using anthropomorphic animals to address very grounded, very real topics.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can see that.
and in that way only. It's tonally nothing like that. It's but it is an animated comedy with anthropomorphic animals that kind of
Yeah.
is centered in a very, very real place.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it takes place in San Francisco. At least most of it
Mhm.
does. Bay Area at least. But yeah, man, like Dimitri Martin, I didn't know that's what he was doing for most of that time.
Huh?
is on that is Ice Bear, the polar bear. Bobby Minahan plays the panda, and like it's actually doing a really good acting job. Like I didn't think that was Bobby Minahan at first.
Yeah.
I guess because I'm used to seeing him play some version of himself, in like
Yeah.
an SNL thing or like in a
Mhm.
comedy bit. Um, so he's great in that. I mean, Jason Lee shows up as like that Sasquatch guy,
Yes.
which kudos to the Bears because oh boy, that's a that's a lot. It's a
It's a
lot to
lot.
handle. Is that guy? Uh, but I mean, hey, that's a good lesson to teach kids. It's how to actually, go about that. Uh,
Yeah.
and I have to remind myself that, yeah, like Chris, this is a show for children. But why can bears talk but no other animals talk except like Sasquatch? Oh no, wait, there is another animal. There's a hamster that is trapped by Nom Nom, the character played by Patton Oswalt, that can
The adorable
talk.
koala.
Yeah, there's a hamster that can talk,
Yes.
and it's trapped in a cage,
Hmm.
but no other animals except the bears.
Um,
Why
they're
is that,
avatars for ancient gods. That's clearly what they.
baby? It's probably just going off that bears are super smart, or that it's a fucking kids show and I shouldn't worry about it.
I mean,
um, who else? Like the person, the person who plays Kimmy Schmidt is like
oh,
constant love
um,
interest.
oh
Weird
shoot.
Al shows up.
Oh my god.
Malcolm
Uh,
McDowell's in it.
yeah, Malcolm McDowell shows
Who
up.
does Malcolm McDowell play?
It's like a
The
professor or something.
captain.
Oh no, the
Yeah.
captain. You're right. The captain plays. I think something McDonald. Is it Ian? Sir Ian McDonald or fucking.
McKellen?
No, it's something McDonald. That's why I'm like, it's not Sir Ian McKellen. Plays a professor. It's wild. They get people, dude. Estelle's the singer of the intro song.
Oh my god.
Um, so my theory is, and maybe because I'm just misremembering the time, but this is probably around the time Steven Universe was really blowing up,
It was, yeah.
and they can get more people. Um, hey, I was gonna ask this, Nick. What do you? Well, now that I know Ian's watched it too, what do you guys think about the episodes where they're children, they're little babies?
I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack from how cute it was. It was too cute.
So my thing is, I think and this is probably my problem of binging it, is
Yeah.
that I think there are too many.
Okay.
In that I can't keep handling it.
Uh,
These children
Uh,
rapping and talking.
what I had understood, I had heard, was the creator of the show actually wanted that to be a backdoor pilot, so there would be twin series going on at the same
yeah,
time.
Nick told me about that too.
Which, I mean, shoot your shot, my guy, but it's ambitious to have two shows. Doubly so when both
Yeah.
shows have the same characters in them.
My thing with it is those episodes are becoming predictable, right? Like is these little kids, in the sense that they're together, they're making their way in a world with as orphans essentially, no money. And like, but every episode there's an adult that does these children dirty, like not just wrong, just like fucking dirty. Is that guy who steals that box from them, their only shelter from the sun in like a desert? The dude who breaks into their little hovel in an alley and steals their $100 bill because he's
forgot
never
about that
seen one
one.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Weird Al who like it keeps him at the booth to exploit him for money.
Wow.
Yeah, people forget. It's fucking wild. Except like Yuri's the only one. The Yuri episode, which episode's pretty great actually. At first I didn't think I'd like the Icy Nights episodes, but I'm liking them so far. I wasn't expecting the twist at the end of Icy Nights 2, I'll be real. That's the one where it's Ice Bear doing that sort of like synthwave 80s like John Wick style.
Yeah.
Like Drive or
Yeah, it's probably closer to Drive actually.
Yeah, because Drive came out around the same
Yeah,
time.
you're totally right. Drive came out around that time, and it's closer to that in the first episode as well.
Mm-mm.
But like connecting it back to Yuri was fucking great, actually.
Yeah, it was dope.
Um,
That's
favorite
the axe, right?
Yeah, it's the one that gives him the
Sorry.
axe.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes so far is still Tote Life.
Oh my god.
I like the episode a lot. I don't know if you guys remember, that was the episode where they start getting tote bags and they become hoarders.
Don't, but that sounds amazing.
And then there's that cop who goes in and it's like, yo, what's going on here? And just Grizz is covered in tote bags looking like huge and like almost like a robe. And just going, oh, welcome, Tote Life. And keep saying it over and over again. And I just like how weird it got. Yeah, man, it's a good show. Hey, it's a good show. Look at that. It's funny. It's good. It's good. Good lessons. With some just being, I guess that is how it would end. Okay. I can appreciate that.
Come on.
All right. What else? Haven't gone to watch much. Video game wise, still going through Near Replicant. I'll talk about it after.
Okay.
Once I beat it, I'll beat it. And then what was the other game? I got Pokemon Snap, the only Pokemon game that truly matters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I got the new one, and so far it's fucking great. It's it's what you want.
Can we
and
talk?
You want to? Oh, what's up?
Can we talk about it? I'd love.
Have you played it?
Oh my god, I played it. Yeah,
It's fucking great, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
Isn't that what you wanted a Pokemon game, people? Is you want to travel through the world and you see Pokemon, how they interact with the environment?
I think the thing I'm most happy about is that there's alternate paths each time you replay.
Yeah.
That is adding so much replayability to the game.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you, because like,
well, Pokemon Snap is essentially a turret shooter. Like,
yes,
if you want to break down genre, you're trying to aim at like the best shots and all that, but you're taking picture of Pokemon and like their thing.
Exactly. You're trying to actually frame them dead center for some reason, because the game likes that more.
It doesn't like the rules of 4 or the
does not enjoy that golden rule.
Golden rule, which sucks. That's what I was like. I was just learning how to do that with my phone the other day, and now I have to unlearn it for Pokemon High Score. Or what's it? The rule of the 9 box rule. That's the one I'm using more often for streams. Yeah, it does not like that. Doesn't want your weird action shots. But god damn it, I'll take a picture of Bidoof's ass and dump truck. Never a goddamn feel like.
You can't tell me. I'll tell you. This is art.
What was there was one gripe I had it with, and I was trying to remember it because I told Nick this, and it's only a problem I can see with completionists. Oh yeah, in that you can only choose one photo per Pokemon.
Oh god.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's the real problem. It's not that. The real problem is there's 4 poses a Pokemon can do. And then you have to, if you want a completionist, you got to get like a platinum version of each one, right? The thing is, if you take multiple in one run of those poses of one Pokemon, you can only choose one.
Yeah.
So there's no like getting a crazy good run in each thing. And that kind of sucks.
It really does. That is.
But again, this is for people who are gonna like want to complete everything, you know.
I'm sure that is really just there to force replayability.
Yeah, I can see that, and I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm loving it. It's what I wanted in a Pokemon thing, because the mainline Pokemon series has been pretty much the same for a while now. Long ass time, actually. One of my favorite things is when you're doing a tutorial for this thing, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna practice taking a shoe," and then Pikachu appears, and then your mentor or whatever, whatever her name is again, is like, oh my god, it's Pikachu! Take a picture of Pikachu, and it feels like someone's shaking you, and like someone out of the game is like, look, it's fucking Pikachu! Aren't you excited? It's what you want. It's Pikachu. Go take a picture of Pikachu. And you take a picture of Pikachu, and he smiles and he waves at you, and your heart like grows in 3 sizes. And then you die, and then you come back and you like.
Because there's nothing more.
Pokemon.
There's nothing more to wait for.
Yeah, there's nothing else in life. It's great. I should play more. I should beat it. It's what my lesson. What else? What else? Video game wise, I played the Guilty Gear Strive stuff. I just can't wait for that game to fucking come out. I need a good fighting game in my life again. I need to be in there. I need to do the work.
Do the work.
Do the work.
Throw some money down.
There's some cash moolah down.
Yeah, we need some more thuggery. We've been missing out on some thuggery. Like, we need some good thuggery.
Yeah. Now, see, this is what the mainstream media won't tell you, and then
is that you need to fucking trash, like not hurtful trash, just like fucking like
creative
hood
trash.
Shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The trash here, like you say it, and it's really funny, and then but it's like so weird and out there that you don't know how to respond to it.
Yes,
that's how you catch people off guard.
That's my whole life.
Let's see. Have I read anything? I am reading stuff, but nothing I'm ready to talk about yet because I'm in the middle of reading stuff.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it I can think of right now. Ian, you got anything?
I can clean this up. Just watch it, guys. Watch me work.
Hurry up, no,
Wait, Nick has another movie to talk about.
Oh, okay.
No,
what's your other movie? What's your
Bible Black, New Testament.
Citizen Kane. I finally watched it.
I watched the milk scene of Bible Black on my Apple Watch.
They asked me to leave the bus for some reason.
And I was like, wait, no, look. And then I zoomed in. No, I'm just kidding.
Pinch and zoom.
So I tried this new book called Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin.
Gotcha.
She is a Spanish author. It's like one of the newest books translated from Spain. And like the whole thing has a very this might be a weird comparison to make, but the book kind of made me think a lot about the work of not James Joyce, but a guy who did Play, and he did
Play.
Yeah, maybe I am thinking of James Joyce. It has like this very rambling, mad, like fevered quality without any breaks. And it just feels very stream of consciousness.
Oh, Faulkner.
There's a lot of Faulkner in there.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And so I made the decision to start trying to read it while I was high, and it was almost incomprehensible. I read it like 2 times, and I thought like, oh, this will be fun because this is supposed to be incoherent almost.
Yeah.
And I tried reading it, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. There's just like horses screaming. But it's basically the story of a woman who's kind of taking care of her kids as an only mother, having a kind of a hard time.
Yeah. And
also, while taking care of a sick family member, she raises a racehorse.
Ooh.
It's actually a really short book. It's only like maybe 200 pages, if that.
Yeah.
But the way in which this woman just kind of lays out the stress of her life in one contiguous, just like rambling way, it kind of makes you feel like you're like losing your grip on what's going on. It's wild.
Well, that's kind of
fun. I would recommend reading it. If you can read it in as close to one go as possible, you'll probably get more out of it.
Yeah.
rather than breaking it up, which is hard because the book doesn't have any chapters or any real line breaks of any kind. So
Nice.
You really just kind of gotta push through it, which I did it in 3 goes. And
Okay. How long is it?
It's 180 pages, but it's also like dimensions are like it's not even a full-size book. It's only like by which I mean like it's a
Not a real book.
it's like 7 by 5 instead of 8 by 11.
Okay.
Um,
It's almost like a fever dream.
it's almost like a fucking fever dream. Swoop. Next.
Big brain.
I actually ended up watching a lot of documentaries this month.
Oh, okay.
Because I was looking into like well, it started with me looking at skateboarding in the 90s.
Okay.
So I ended up watching a documentary called Stoked, story of Mark Gator Lewandowski.
Okay.
And it's a really interesting documentary. I'd actually recommend people to go look for it. It's free on YouTube right now.
Gotcha.
And the documentary essentially follows the rise of a young teenage skater named Gator, who is a Santa Monica native, and he kind of came up just after the kind of big wave of skating in the 70s.
Yeah.
To become a pro skater in the mid 80s. So I'll just talk a little bit about it. Just kind of the story is so striking to me. It really is wild. It's kind of familiar to anybody who knows, the destructive nature of fame on young people. Like, this dude made his first million at 15.
Oh wow.
And he literally made it just being good at skateboarding. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So he's getting endorsement deals. He's getting approached by girls. He's really like living on cloud 9. And they interview like a bunch of other pro skaters from around the same time, like of obviously Tony Hawk appears in it. Let's see, Christian Halki is another great skater from LA. He's in it. There's a bunch of like some of the Z Boys are in it from Venice.
Okay.
But the basic gist of the story is, the 80s skating blew up. People were really into vert skating empty pools, ramps, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then Gleaming the Cube came out in like 1990, I think. And by 1989 to 1990, suddenly vert was not cool. Vert was elitist, and everyone was doing street skating.
Yeah.
So everybody was just, grinding on flower beds and stuff like that. And Gator didn't know how to street skate. He had only ever practiced in skate parks, which were now almost gone. And when the skate parks went away, he had already had enough money to buy his own ramps and stuff. And so his fall, I just want to tease you with one story because it gets so much worse. But
okay,
it's like a true crime story at the end. Spoiler. At the end,
I was about to say something
like,
horrible happens, right? Like that's
that's
how these documentaries go.
Well, also they found out that Gator had gone undiagnosed as borderline personality disorder.
Oh shit.
And so he was in Australia in 1990 trying to learn to street skate.
Yeah.
And fucking up, because that's the way you learn. That is the way you learn, is just fucking up.
Yeah.
But he got caught. I don't know. I mean, that's the way they phrase it. He got caught trying to learn street skating in Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
And he got made fun of by like a group of skater kids.
Okay.
And so he was really in a pissy mood. And then apparently one of them still was a fan of Gator. And he was like, hey, they don't know what they're talking about. I think you're great. Can I get your autograph? And he's like, man, I'm not in the mood right now. Please don't.
Yeah.
And the kid apparently continued to ask for an autograph. And then, by the way, at this point in 1990, Gator is now a 22-year-old man, not a 15-year-old anymore.
Okay.
And he punched a child in the face.
Hell yeah.
And
that's
Get
the
close to
reaction we
the
wanted
clip.
from Chris.
and Australia was like, "You're banned. No more Australia for you.
You're fired.
You're not
That's-
allowed to punch kids."
I know I'm
Gator."
laughing, but it's probably like super horrible.
Punching the kid? I don't know, Chris. Let me ask Ian.
Oh, the
Ian, is it-
banning
is
from
it
a
terrible?
country, the ostracization.
Oh, not the punching the child. I'm sorry. Chris.
No, you ever
we're
you
not
ever
laughing
get
at-
in a fight with a kid, you feel big. You feel real big.
Oh, you can't tell me. I'm bigger.
Holy
Some of them
Christ,
you
Chris.
can palm like a fucking basketball. Anyway, gets banned from Australia.
Gets banned from Australia, and he then, after he gets he goes to jail for a while, gets out, gets off of drugs, gets too into Jesus, maybe.
Okay.
Needs to
And
back up.
then, and then a murder happens at the end.
Well,
But,
there you
there you are.
Fun fact.
go.
Can I tell you this? And so I'm just jumping over. I see what we've got as far as time. So
Yeah.
relatedly, next documentary I saw was Cuckoo's Nest, which was a documentary about like the punk scene coming up
Okay.
in I guess LA/Orange County.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they interviewed a bunch of great musicians and artists,
Mhm.
but there was like a lot of overlap between that scene specifically and a lot of the skaters in LA
Oh, interesting.
at that time.
Okay.
So the Cuckoo's Nest story is kind of taking place from 1978 till, like, let's say the early 90s as well.
Yeah.
So there was some really interesting overlap with like both of those documentaries, I guess, back to back, just kind
Yeah.
of seeing like, oh, all of these people knew each other. Like Henry Rollins talking about the first time he played with Black Flag was at the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, okay.
And them kind of describing this like connection between both of the subcultures. It's pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting. I'd recommend that. It's also, hey, what do you know? Free on
Hey.
YouTube.com.
Oh my
Oh
god.
shit, that's cool.
Right?
That's punk.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's punk rock.
Damn. Punching that kid was pretty hardcore though.
You know what? Punching that kid, that's pretty punk rock, right, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have thrown him like Akon.
Oh my fucking god.
Sometimes I just rewatch that clip, dude. Like,
Remember, it's for Disney Radio.
that's my favorite thing about that entire fucking clip. It's at a Radio Disney concert.
So good.
These children.
That's
Because I remember,
oh my God.
a coworker once showing me that clip. Like I had never seen it, and I went, "Oh, you don't know about this clip?" And he went, "What?" It's like, "Do you even know who that is?" And he went, "No, it's just some dude throwing." I went, "That's fucking Akon." And he goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah. Guess where this
Yeah.
is at?" And I showed a different perspective, and then the Radio Disney banner is there, and it blew his fucking mind. Like.
That's phenomenal, man.
I love that clip so much. It's he fucking
You're like, damn, I
rips
wish
his,
that was me.
takes his shirt off and lifts that kid over his head, chucks him.
No mercy. No mercy in this dojo.
It's like a fucking fighting game, dude. It's
He was stacking that meter.
yeah, so great.
He did that Samurai Showdown where like he did like
I'm
the
gonna rewatch
instant
that
kill.
clip.
Let's watch it right now.
Yeah. So, what other documentaries, Ian?
So I watched both of those, and then thank you. There's one third one I want to mention.
Yeah.
That again is actually kind of a downer of a subject, but it was
Okay.
really interesting. It was a documentary called "A Response to Vaccine Hesitancy."
Okay.
really
What's it
hot
about?
stuff. It was about Andrew Wakefield.
Was that the new
Who?
H bomber guy thing?
Yeah, that was the new H bomber guy thing.
I've been told to check that out too. I'm not usually. I do like him.
Hmm.
It's just that his videos are so fucking long.
They are so long, and he really does go into it, and
Yeah.
so like,
Also, he's insane about Dark Souls. I don't know where he gets off on some of that
good
stuff.
God, he. I haven't watched his Sherlock video either. I'll be honest. There's some stuff I've not seen, but he
Yeah,
apparently has some hot takes about
he sure fucking does about some of that.
Yeah, I thought I had bad opinions, but my God.
He's usually on the money about it, of the research stuff. It's just
He
it's
does
just
have some media critique stuff that is
the
anyway.
media critiques are
Uh,
like fucking wild.
so
Oh yeah, there's the Sherlock video.
oh my God, he also has one about Ruby. I think that it's like an
Yeah.
hour, and I'm like, how do you have an hour worth of stuff to say about
It's
that?
2.5
I don't.
hours.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. All right. Well,
But yeah, I'm gonna watch
this
that vaccine one just because David Wong was talking about it and being like, "Yo, this thing's fucking wild."
it is fucking wild, Matt. Do you mind if I talk a little bit about it? I
Yeah,
won't
go for it. Go
spoil
for it.
anything,
Go for
but
it.
I think that like so what you can take away from this documentary is not only that I think that what all the people here with microphones are thinking, I think,
Yeah.
is that all this anti-vaccination ridiculousness came out from one misleading medical paper.
Uh-huh.
And I think I had even heard that it was retracted.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all that I knew about it.
Yeah.
This dude just goes up the ass of this paper so deep. I couldn't believe it. He then even found research that I wasn't aware of. A big part of his work is based on a journalist who is actually just now releasing a book
Okay.
about how damaging the work of Andrew Wakefield has been.
Yeah.
And shoot, I remember the title, but not the author's name. The title of the book was "The Doctor Who Sickened Our Children" or something
Yeah.
like that, I
Okay.
believe. But essentially, this guy did follow-ups with the 12 children who are subject of the paper,
Oh wow.
who are documented in this paper that people hang anti-vaccination belief on, essentially.
Yeah.
And 3 of them are not diagnosed as being on the autistic spectrum at all.
Okay.
So, first of all, that's like 1/6 of the sample size
Yeah.
that is inapplicable anyway. They
No.
don't have autism,
Yeah.
so that doesn't make sense. And then I actually kind of got into the depths of what Andrew Wakefield is espousing,
Uh-huh.
which was it started out as him basically recommending that people not get an MMR vaccine, which is MRSA, malaria, and rubella vaccine.
Okay.
Instead of getting those 3 vaccines in one injection, he recommended parents should only be vaccinating their children with individual vaccines for all 3 instead of an all-in-one shot.
Oh shit. That's
And
not good.
his argument basically came down to, I believe that when you do the MMR vaccine, MRSA can get stuck in the intestine of the
Okay.
child, and it causes perforation and rot that creates a quote opioid-like effect that causes autism in some children with weak immune systems.
So
bullshit.
here's the thing, right?
Yes.
Having done a bunch of yeah, I think I've mentioned it before. I used to study biology, like, and I would have to learn medical stuff, and
Hmm.
and knowing how vaccines worked was like one of the first thing you learn, or at least that I did. And The most dangerous part about what you just said is that it sounds like not too crazy in leaps of logic to the layman, or do people
Absolutely.
just don't know medical knowledge? And to me, I'm hearing that's so many fucking crazy leaps of logic for
Oh
how
yeah,
just a vaccine would not work that way. There's no
and
possible way.
also it doesn't address like, well, then why is it safer to get an individual MRSA vaccine?
Yeah.
Like, if the
Okay.
concern is that like a weakened form of that virus strain getting stuck in the gut of a child with an underdeveloped immune system, then then why aren't you advocating that people not vaccinate for that virus entirely?
Yeah.
And then again, this isn't a spoiler. He covers so much good material.
Uh-huh.
It's because Andrew Wakefield, not a doctor, disbarred from any medical practice
Yeah.
for the rest of his life,
Yeah.
Owned a patent on a brand new MRSA vaccine.
Yeah. So
Get
I
the
knew about that.
Yeah. Damn.
So that's where my knowledge of the thing
Ooh.
stops, because I knew about that, and I went, well, there you
Shit.
go.
Well, if you're up for it, I think that it's definitely worth your time. I will give you a warning that he gives you, which is there is some discussion about children, including some children on the spectrum who are put under painful medical testing.
Yeah.
And they may not have actually been completely consensually informed of what was going to happen to those children.
Fuck.
Yeah. And he also I've got to tell one last thing. I know we're out of time.
Okay.
He also apparently bragged in front of a group of people because Andrew Wakefield now has basically admitted, like, oh, I flushed my career down the toilet because the only people who believe me are conspiracy lunatics.
Yeah.
And he named
Bummer.
what's that dude's name? He named someone by name, and I thought that was Alex Jones.
Yeah.
It's like, I now have to sell my product on Alex Jones. And he's
Damn.
like, so he clearly knows what has gone wrong in some way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for his loss.
But
the money.
The money. But
This guy is a bit too crazy.
He apparently to a group of people on a 6 days Mexican cruise called Conspiracy.
Wow.
What is the truth? He told people that some of the blood samples that he had used, because he needed control subjects, children who didn't have autism, to compare to.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, we were running up on the deadline, so I just went to my son's birthday party and I offered £5 to draw blood from the children there.
Oh, shit. What the fuck, man?
And he says it like it's a super normal thing.
Shit.
Hey,
boost my ego with my children's blood. What the fuck?
There you go, dude. No, it's friend's blood. My kid's friend's blood.
I'm about to make that money, and then he fucking throws a needle at their arm. What the
Jesus
shit?
Christ. Yeah. It's a fucking mess, man. I guess I'll just mention this. This will be very brief, and I'll close out. I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the crimes and stuff. Remember that? I'd been I'd been binging my first show in a minute. I caught up on The Handmaid's Tale all at once.
Oh, okay.
Holy shit! Let me just say, where are you guys at? Have you seen any of it? Or...
No, I haven't seen none of it. I had a friend of mine in college, and she's like, "Yeah, it's actually pretty good."
It's really good. It's really intense, especially I would say season 1 and 2 are some of the darkest materials I've seen ever.
Okay.
Like, I honestly, like, 1 and 2 were the hardest to kind of parse, just because there was no kind of mercy tonally. It was just oppressively dark. Sexual violence, physical violence, verbal violence, religious oppression. It was tough. It was really, really, really dark. But season 4 has so much more kind of hope on the horizon. But so as not to spoil anything, one of the characters from the main cast has eventually escaped Gilead and manages to become a refugee in Canada.
Wow.
And man, I know that it's fiction and it's put through a lens, but I can't think of any American media really that is so kind of empathic towards the experience of being forced out of your home country, of what the actual experience of that is. And I guess I was kind of thinking about that. It's really not a narrative that's been touched on, and this, especially now, so much of this show is now based on, we have captured war criminals and we have freed victims of state-sanctioned violence.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
go ahead.
I would say, like, well, if we're thinking of like media where like someone was driven out of their home country, right? Wouldn't that be like Snowden? Or
I mean, I guess Snowden was driven out of his home country, but I don't know that he wasn't living a refugee experience.
And that's not media, is it? That's like an actual.
I mean, well, they made a movie about Edward Snowden.
Oh, that okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, I do agree. I agree that he's seeking asylum, and I agree that the government that he's fleeing is definitely unjustly trying to kind of disproportionately react. I was trying to think how I wanted to. But I'm thinking, like, I think that a lot of the experience in this is kind of more akin to even events like, I remember 2015 to 2017, the Somali crisis, where so many people were rushing out of Somalia into different parts of Africa, into South Europe, and the Syrian refugee crisis right now. So many people displaced, and that specific experience of being a part of a huge group of people who are kind of have the choice of essentially staying in physical terror in the home in your homeland, or what is the reality of deciding that you have to flee for safety because there's so much going on, not just a new culture, not just but also like readjusting yourself from survival mode, just being in a place where you're not constantly thinking somebody watching me, is someone going to do something to me, it's some really, really great work, I think. That
does sound good. It's on the list. So.
Well, guys, I'm so sorry to go on like that, but that was my month.
Right on. Real quick, what are we all looking forward to? Nick, go. Nick, go.
I am looking forward to
go.
Pretty Boys Detective Club, and then I am looking forward to Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah.
And then I am looking forward to finally finishing Persona 4, so that's gonna be funny.
Aww.
Nice.
And then finishing fucking 86. And more of the things I like. And then Chris, what are the things you like that you're?
What do I like? I don't like things, man. I'm reading Blood on the Tracks. I'm gonna finish that. I just got, or at least the mangas I have. I'm gonna read Through the Woods by Emily Carroll because I got that in finally. It's a graphic novel of horror shorts. We Bear Bears. I'll probably finish. Get back to Near Replicant whenever I have free time, or every time I have free time, I'm gonna be playing that. So there you go. Ian, anything you're looking forward to?
I am looking most forward to The French Dispatch, which is the Wes Anderson film that's going to come out on my birthday. So,
sick.
Hey, just a month away.
Are you do that thing where you rent out a theater?
Yes, just for me. Just so
for
I
you.
feel like blank check.
And then you're like, when's Italian Job 2?
Yeah.
And let me also say I've heard that Tommy Orange, the Native American writer from Oakland, is going to come out with his follow-up book in 2022, early 2022. I'm very excited for that. His first book kicked ass.
That sounds cool.
So I'm excited about that one. And thirdly, and finally, I want to say I'm very excited for. Oh, shoot, I said the movie. I said Tommy Orange.
Yeah.
Dang it. Oh, horror conventions. Hopefully, I'm gonna be up and at 'em. But last year I was gonna meet Clive Barker for the first time. So fingers crossed.
Shit.
I really want to get to meet Clive Barker.
Yeah.
While I can. So.
Hey, so what's your opinion on hooks? What do you think of this hook?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're gonna look at him, and he's gonna look at you, and he's gonna go, "Hi, Ian. I know you wanted to meet me for a long time. It's glad to meet you. I know everything about you." And then he leaves.
He's like,
What?
"I'm gonna marry you." I'm gonna marry your dad.
I'm gonna marry you.
Oh no! Is he? Do you guys remember there was a Mad TV sketch about Alex Borstein having a hot dad that stole her boyfriends all the time?
No, I don't.
It's like that.
Fuck
Okay.
no. Why the fuck would I know that?
Well, on that note, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Do you know Rahi? I will play Rahi. Music start!